Nothing like the anthem here in this place.
Enjoy it.
That's Wayne Messmer, who sings the national anthem here. He also is the public address announcer at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs. He is incredible. Don Koharski, the referee here tonight, working in his 6th final. The first game of this series.
Andy Van Helleman is the backup referee, which would lead us again to assume that he'll work Game 4 here on Monday night at the stadium.
That's right. They just rotate them right on through.
And Tom Barrasso, who has been superb for the Penguins. Penguins have not lost since May 7th against the New York Rangers, and Tommy has been spectacular on the road. 6-3 record on the road, 2.43 goals against average, and a save percentage around .940. There's Eddie Belfour. Belfour, who has played in every game for the Hawks so far, and the puck dropper underway. It's Game 3, and Chelios and Smith on for the Hawks to take it. Bob Erie not playing tonight for the Penguins, out with that shoulder problem again. Stefan Matteau to the Penguins' zone, and Gordy Roberts looked at him and went behind the net to Dirk Graham of Chicago. Number 33, looking for Brent Sutter. Sutter, Matteau, and Dirk Graham, the starting line for the Chicago Blackhawks. Off the near side. They get it to the right side. Chelios moves in. A slip shot stopped by Barrasso on the rebound. Lemieux played it right to Steve Smith. Boom, it right on. Barrasso's got his glove out to make the save on Steve Smith very early on. So the Hawks come out buzzing like bees around a hive, but Tom Barrasso very quick. And I'll tell you, that's a good sign for Penguin fans in the early going when you see Barrasso make saves like he did there. Not only on Chelios, but Smith also with that quick glove hand. That's usually a pretty good sign that Tommy might be on his game for the whole 60 minutes.
Brent Sutter with a good shot from out towards the right point area. He had a lot of time to get it away. Barrasso made the save. Lemieux cleared the rebound. He just blindly cleared it out, but it came right to the stick of Smith. And the flow had all gone over to the other side of the ice. Unfortunately for Barrasso, there was a lot of room out there in front of him where he could see that shot from Steve Smith and glove it and hang on to it.
Well, the Hawks looking for a little more offense, put Robbie Brown back in. He missed Game 2 with a groin pull, and Francis wins the draw from Robbie Brown, and Ulf Samuelsson gets the puck to Mario Lemieux. Swinging up to center to Ronnie Francis, who quietly has gone about being the number 2 point getter in the playoffs this year. Tocchet, Lemieux, and Stevens back reunited as Francis comes off. And here's Greg Gilbert of the Hawks now, firing the puck into the crowd from the Penguin blue line to the far side, and it's out of action. So it'll be interesting to see what Mike Keenan does here at home, what matchups that he wants against the Penguins. Lemieux stays out. Let's see if the Hawks now change anything at all. Well, Mario's going to the bench, so the Pens are going to employ a new unit here. They'll have Sean McEachran, Ronnie Francis, and Phil Bourque. For some reason, I got this feeling McEachran's going to have a big night tonight for the Hawks. The Hawks bring out Jeremy Roenick, who will play tonight with Michel Goulet and Steve Armour. So they want to go against Ronnie Francis' line, and this is the last change. So Roenick Keenan has the change, and he wants to put him out against Francis. And Roenick won the faceoff to Brian Marchment. Over to the right side to Rod Busquets, the former Penguin, who plays for the Hawks. Keith Brown out with a shoulder problem for the Hawks also. We'll get to the scratches when we get an opportunity here near side. Penguins in. Marchment shooting. Deflected right off the left pad of Barrasso, and on it goes onto center. The Hawks steer it right back in, and gloved by Barrasso. Looking for Jimmy Pack. Penguin defenseman, shoot it ahead off a stick. McEachran flying to the right side of the Hawks in, trying to be Busquets. Got it over to Francis. It's behind him. Bourque went in to get it, but Marchment tapped it away from him. Now the loose puck in the Chicago end, and the Hawks steer it up quickly to Roenick. Moving the puck well into the Penguin zone. Roenick comes over to the right side. Somebody lost a glove, and I think it might be Roenick off his left hand. And he comes to the bench quickly. They gave him a new glove, but he's going to go right to the bench. The Hawks will get it near wing now in the Penguin zone. Digging for it, Mike Hudson. Throw it around the horn. It goes right point. Over to Bourque, and he clears it out of the area back to center by Roenick's glove that still is on the ice. Chelios hops into the Penguins end. And knocked away from him by Yuri Hrdina. Calendar Hrdina working for the Penguins, and Dave Mikhailuk, who replaces Bob Erie tonight. Hudson out of the corner, comes in and shoots it. Barrasso standing tall to make that save. Steve Smith in the blue line. They went outside the line and they shot it back in. It's an offside call against Chicago. The Hawks out shooting Pittsburgh 4-1 here in the early going, and we have no score. First period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Charlotte Greguris of Allison Park is our contestant on the Foodland Hot Shot contest. $400 worth of groceries in the Foodland jackpot. Jeremy Roenick steps right back onto the ice as Mike Keenan has the last change, and he puts him out here against Scotty Bowman's Jock Calendar line with Hrdina and Mikhailuk.
And the Hawks again spin it back into the Penguin zone. Right behind his own net. Gordy Roberts defensively to Larry Murphy. Shoots it up to get the scoreboard. No, it went by that and onto the Hawks end. And back to touch it, Igor Kravchuk, the Chicago defenseman. Well, so far the Hawks have had the better of the play here in the Pens in. Now Lemieux coming on here to match up against Roenick.
As soon as they won the draw, Larry Murphy got the puck, and he has a knack for being able to get that puck up in the air as he does. He hit the scoreboard in Pittsburgh the other night. I think he just wanted to ice that puck so the Penguins could get somebody else on the ice here. And they send Trottier's line out. Trottier will take the face-off. He's out here along with Mario Lemieux and Rick Tocchet.
And Brent Sutter now goes against Trottier. Two former Islander teammates. To the right point, Sutter won the draw to Chelios of Chicago. Scoots around Rick Tocchet. Chelios off the right wing board, skating nicely. Still controls the puck. And off Tocchet's leg, he shot it, and it hops back to center. Chelios right back after it for Chicago. On to Stepan Matteau to the left wing of Brent Sutter. Put it in front, and the Hawk can't deflect it in. Matteau working the corner, but the Penguins have it. And here's Rick Tocchet taking a lead pass from Mario Lemieux. Tocchet near side to center ice. Onto the Hawks line, shooting for the Penguins. That's in on Belfour. He'll make that easy save. And they flip it up the sideboards and onto the neutral zone. Larry Murphy has it for the Penguins. He'll gun it right back into the Chicago zone. Hops around to Chelios, the Hawk defenseman. Trying to play it weakly by Tocchet. Tocchet took it away and put it right in front. And that's not by Belfour. Chelios and Stevens collide right around that goal. Well, Chris Chelios and Steve Smith paired out here. I talked to several Penguins on the way over here yesterday, and they had kind of a sense that, and I really believe this too, Chelios won't tire at all in this series, but they thought that Steve Smith might be wearing down a little bit from all the games that he has played. And you might look for that tonight, see if they're able to beat him at all coming down to the Chicago zone. They might want to work that side a little more.
There aren't many guys in this game who know how to work the corners like Rick Tocchet and play the puck off his feet and maintain control of the puck by using his body to protect it and come out of those corners with the puck with good passes, and he was able to get the puck out to the net from the left wing boards. Stevens yelling at one of the Hawks as he sits down on the Penguin bench. Eddie Belfour got some help today from one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Vladislav Tretiak, who played for the Red Army team back in the Soviet days of the Soviet Union when they had the great teams in the Summit Series in the early 70s.
So winning the first two games, all we really achieved was hold on to home ice. And then when you go on the road, okay, you can steal that series in Game 3. That was always Scotty Bowman always felt that Game 2 was the most important game in the season or the series. That's the first challenge that you face. We exceeded that. We won the game. Game 2 going into 3 was a case of now let's just keep it going.
Early going again as he did in Game 2. Mike Keenan appears to me to be moving the defenseman around a little bit more than he had with the Game 1 when he played Smith and Chelios so much, and he just seems to be using a lot of people here in the early going. And the Hawks have a line that will feature Hudson at center with Mike Peluso and Jocelyn Lemieux, and just as we say that, they pull them off against Trottier, Jaromir Jagr, and Troy Loney. This is Jagr's first appearance of the game.
Well, the Hawks are very good at dumping the puck into the corners, and flooding one side of the ice in the offensive zone. And you want to watch for the Penguins to try to reverse the play. They won't push the puck back behind the net. And that's exactly what the Hawks want them to do. They'll try to send it right back up the same boards at the corner that the puck is shot in. Cody Roberts tried to do that on that last play and back in his own end. You will watch for that during the course of the game.
Trottier against Hudson. Pens win the draw. Right point. Shell Samuelson shoots it. Deflected. Comes to Yager trying to one-on-one move here against Kuchera. Turns around and shoots it. It deflected off a stick and comes to Kuchera. Trying to set Kuchera. Flipped it at Jaromir Jagr with 10 goals in the playoffs so far. The Penguins with 3 players 10 or more. And the Hawks have only one. That's Jeremy Roenick, who has yet to score in this series. He had 10 coming in through 3 rounds. And Mike Hudson delivers it back into the Penguin zone. And around to the near boards. And Trottier took a check from Hudson, but the play is stopped here as we get a stop in the action. 16:24 left in the first period. The Hawks and Penguins are scoreless in game number 3 on the Penguins Hockey Network. With Paul Steigerwald, Mike Lang here at the stadium in Chicago, and directly across the street they've started building the new one. It'll be in effect for the 95-96 season. That would be right up there with the Boston Bruins and I think the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know about the date. It's 95-96. I'm not sure of the Hawks here. But I think Montreal and Boston are scheduled for 95-96.
That new Boston or Chicago stadium is going to have 216 private boxes. That's basically why they're building it.
No, Samuelson shoots it ahead to center, and it comes now back into the Penguins in for Michel Goulet. Goulet drive it behind the net. Samuelson working around the boards. Can he get it out? Chelios held it in. Alf's back after it. Flipped it weakly up and hit Larmer, the right winger for the Hawks. But on the Hawks blue line, the puck goes. Jeremy Roenick. We'll leave it for Chris Chelios. Ronnie Francis comes in, puts a little bump on him, and back and forth they go from the neutral zone. Steve Smith hops to the Penguins line, going to the left side. The Hawks are offside. And Steve Larmer still feeling the left side of his face as I think he got hit with a loose puck that came up in the air and caught him. Tom Barrasso, the Penguin goaltender. So far in the early going.
Steve Larmer has been a real threat in this stadium this season, but not so much on the road. 7 of his 8 games in the playoffs have been scored here at Chicago Stadium. 22 were scored at home during the regular season and only 7 on the road. Took a shot to the side of the face.
And that's been pretty much the same story for him in the playoffs too.
That's what I said. Larmer. 7 of his 8 have been scored here at home in the playoffs.
He had only 7 goals in the regular season on the road. And you probably said that too. And here is Kravchuk shooting the puck down the boards and then behind the net. Larry Murphy lost control of it now, and Josh Lemieux put it back behind the cage. Stick handles with the puck coming to the near side. Murphy trying to recover and get it back, but he can't do it. Now Robbie Brown works the corner for the Chicago Blackhawks. Peluso trying to take it from him. Ronnie Francis in on Rob Brown. The battle for it. Peluso with that great size, and Francis works it off the sideboards, but not out. Jocelyn Lemieux and good checking here by the Chicago line. Gordy Roberts looks for room. Gonna blast it off the sideboards, but not out. Murphy will pick it up for the Penguins, however. Has a breaking Bork up ahead. Instead goes right side. McEachran off his stick. Flipped by the defenseman. Going for the net. McEachran's in a goal. A shot save made. Rebound. He goes behind the net now to take it in front for Bork. Trying to tap it home. And he can't get it in as Kuchera slams Bork against the glass.
Mike, one of the things Tretiak worked on today with Eddie Belfour was his ability to get down quicker to take away that 5-hole. The other night, if you were watching our telecast in Game 2, we showed you how Belfour really likes to spread those legs apart. He gets himself spread apart in the net. And Mario Lemieux shot the puck between his legs, mainly because he didn't get down in time to get those pads down on the ice, and it went off his pad and underneath him. This time, right down he goes and gets that knee over on the left pad to close off that 5-hole in that butterfly style. And that's a matter of balance, getting his feet where he wants to get them and being able to react quickly to the shot. He's giving you the 5-hole. He knows you're going to try to take it. It's just a matter of him beating you in that situation, and he was able to beat McEachran there.
Back in front, here's Lemieux trying to shoot it, and it was blocked by the Chicago defense. And Chris Chelios hauls it out of danger on to center. They got Brett Sutter working out here against Lemieux right now. And Sutter's on with Dirk Graham and Stefan Matteau. And the Penguins will counter with Stevens and Tocchet on the wings for Mario Lemieux. At the Penguin line, Shell Samuelson defensively. Played it up. Here's Chelios, decked by Tocchet. The Penguins onto the Chicago zone. Stevens looking. He's got a trailer on the left side of Jimmy Packett. Slap shot blocked by Dirk Graham. It goes to the left wing corner. Tocchet goes in to muscle the Hawk out of the area, but the Hawks come up with a loose puck. And Steve Smith, starting slowly out of his own zone, comes to center. Will dump it in towards the net, and Barrasso got a piece of it. Played it away from an oncoming Chicago player. That was Brent Sutter. Out though to Chelios between the circles, shooting. That's stopping a penalty coming up against Jimmy Pack, I believe. No, a high sticking call against Shell Samuelson. And the Chicago Blackhawks will get the first power play of the night. There is no score. First period. Canes and Hawks in Game 3 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Rick Tocchet just kind of blindly threw the puck up into the slot area. And the Hawks had a pretty good scoring opportunity. And in the meantime, Dirk Graham was hauled down in front of the net by Jimmy Pack. And Shell Samuelson got the stick up around the neck of one of the Hawks in front of the goal. That might have been Dirk Graham that he got the stick into. I think Shell Samuelson and Pack both combined and knocked Graham down in front of the net. Samuelson picks up the penalty.
Blackhawks now hustled right side over to Chelios, and a slap shot blocked by Mario Lemieux. Lemieux with 2 shorthanded goals in the playoffs of the 15 that he has. And play his whistle down as he jammed it in behind a fallen Steve Larmer. The Hawks in the power play overall at 18.2, but in this series they are just 1 for 7 against the Penguins. And frankly, for them to win, I don't think Chicago is as high a scoring team as they were able to show in the first 3 rounds. The numbers don't prove that for the regular year, but they need to cash in on their power play chances to get back into the series. And Brent Sutter with Roenick and Larmer, with Steve Smith and Chelios as the point man. And Lemieux and Ronnie Francis, the penalty killers up front. The Penguin penalty killing has been absolutely superb in the playoffs this year. 84.3%, much better than the regular season.
Murphy cheating way into the circle, and he's basically saying, I'm going to stand right here until you tell him to move out. Murphy was about 2 feet inside of it. Roenick just has half his skates kind of straddling the circle right now. You've got to be outside that circle on faceoffs.
Barrasso cautiously watches 25 feet from his net the faceoff, and Brent Sutter played it up the sideboards. Roenick to the right point to Chelios. The Chicago point man will find Steve Larmer. No score first period. Roenick around the net, comes around toward the backhand once. Stopped by Barrasso on the backhand attempt by Jeremy Roenick. Roenick didn't have too much of a problem that time turning the hands over and shooting the puck. Barrasso made the save, and Tommy reaching out with his right arm, and they practicing more than anything else. He'll do that at times, just moving his arm around. Right wing, here's Roenick with the Penguins in. Comes in crisscross with Larmer. Look out. Larmer's going to shoot one right down low, and Barrasso with that quick glove hand. I tell you, he is Panther quick here tonight, and leather tough so far against the Hawks, who have outshot the Penguins 6-3. And Tommy is making it look easy here in the early going. I mean, he is seeing everything. It looks like a big watermelon coming at him.
Steve Larmer, his nickname is Grandpa. That's what the players call him, because he doesn't have any teeth, and he sits on that bench, and he just looks like an old grandpa sitting there, and it's kind of a miserable look on his face sometimes. He fired one from a sharp angle on Barrasso. The key to that play was the fact that the Hawks were able to make a good pass in the neutral zone to Roenick. It was in flight and top speed going through center ice. He's crisscrossed with Larmer.
Boy, Sutter wins another draw. Right point, it goes to Chelios. You keep winning that many, that'll catch up with you eventually. Sutter behind the net. Ulf Samuelson took it away. Lemieux looks for the puck. Can't come up with it. Steve Smith put it behind the net. To Brent Sutter. Backdoored in front, and Murphy trying to overpower Roenick. The puck lifted around to the left point to Steve Smith of Chicago, trying to get by Lemieux. Down to the near corner net. Hops in behind the goal. Barrasso helps the play out. Over to Ulf Samuelson. Samuelson's pass, though, cut up by Steve Smith, but the Penguins have it on the clear. Another good play by Barrasso, who got back behind the net to force it by another Hawk forward who was coming in. That's twice in this period we've seen him do that. Just take the puck literally away from people who thought they would have it. Now dealt to the right side of the Penguins in. It goes to Robbie Brown. Brown to the right point to Chelios. 37 to go on the penalty to Kravchuk left point. He shoots one. That missed the mark. And Phil Bourque of the Penguins could not clear it out. McEachran will, and he shoots it ahead to take the heat out of a hot kitchen. The Hawks have definitely had the better of the play so far in this game. Now shooting Pittsburgh 6-3, but they have nothing to show for it on the board. Now Igor Kravchuk again, final rush up into the Penguins end. Played it up the sideboards, and Stanton gets the puck, and he drills it back to center. So the Hawks just running out of time right now in this power play chance. Goulet will step in with 8 seconds to go, going to Stepan Matteau. Wheel it in behind the Penguin net, and it's relayed to the right wing corner for Rob Brown. McEachran knocks him flat, but right point Noonan shooting. Barrasso again, razor sharp to grab that one with his glove. And he held on, and we'll be back. The Pens have killed it. No score first period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Tom Barrasso has a tendency at times to have a little trouble, and it's kind of a little barrier that he has to break through. He's done it in each series really so far. He broke through it in the first period after he allowed a questionable goal by Chris Chelios of game 1, and then got stronger as the game went on, was outstanding in game 2. And he has been unbelievable here to start game 3.
Well, tap behind the Penguin net, and Murphy. It's just a matter of time, too, for the Penguins. The law of averages tell you with this hockey club that average almost 4.5 goals a game on the year to get some chances. And the Hawks have not been able to convert so far, but they still put the pressure on. Jocelyn Lemieux, near side. Over to the near corner in Chicago. Steps it over to the right wing corner where the Penguins in. Jocelyn Lemieux over to Gilbert. Got it to Mike Hudson. Hudson turned around by Murphy, and it goes back in behind the net. And Hudson trying to work away from that Murphy check. Left the puck for Gray Gilbert. Out now, attempted pass for Busquets, and it's off the stick of Loney. And belted back to the blue line, but not out. Hudson swinging over. Trottier is going to come up with it for the Penguins. And on it goes, down deep into Chicago territory. And the Pens will be guilty of icing here. And Chicago really impressive here in this first period of play against the Penguins with 11:31 left. But we are still scoreless. Well, Chicago this year at home, they went 23-9-8 on home ice. One of the better marks in the league. And as we've talked about, the Penguins last year winning the Stanley Cup and winning in Minnesota when the whole world thought that nobody would win a game there. The Pens did it. Not only winning once, but twice. They've won 2 games in every series so far this year on the road. And Chicago, I think once you get over the initial part of it here, maybe the first 10 minutes, the Penguins, I think, will be more comfortable. And, if you had to draw a game plan up, they would tell you, we got to watch the first 10 minutes. We need good goaltending. And if we can settle in and keep the game close, then we've got a shot. And I think that's where we are at the moment now.
It's basically a game of survival early in a hockey game on the road. The first period particularly. Especially if you get out even at the end of 1, you're happy, actually.
Especially here, and especially with the situation with the Hawks being down 2-0. Brent Sutter with Mateau and Graham.
By the same token, oftentimes the pressure is on the home team in this situation, too. And they're a little tighter in the first period. They could loosen up as the game goes on.
Graham shooting, and Barrasso able to stop that one also down low. Boy, the Pens are losing a ton of faceoffs here in this first period. I mean, it's unbelievable. They are really fortunate to be in a scoreless hockey game right now.
Well, that glove hand that Barrasso has, the ability to catch everything, just stops the action. Now, it forces face-off situations, which, as you said, the Penguins haven't won. But on the other hand, he's not giving up any rebounds. So the Hawks aren't getting any second cracks at all.
That one came off a body and carried him to him, and he still made the stop like he had seen it all the way. Steve Smith now in the Penguins in. The Hawks again control. Brent Sutter has won at least a half a dozen face-offs in this first period already. Around to the right wing boards. Shell Samuelson steps into Dirk Graham. Keeps the pressure on him, pulls him from behind. The Penguins trying to clear, and they can't. The Hawks again fire to the corner. Graham comes up with it for Chicago. Trying to center it. The Hawks are 6-1 on home ice here in the playoff year so far. Mateau going over to Brent Sutter. Now Dirk Graham knocked down by Samuelson. And Shell Samuelson carries the puck up out of his own end. Penguin defenseman at 6'6", steps onto the Chicago line, trying to center it across, and it's stolen by Steve Smith. And he gets the puck to Dirk Graham, and he'll just wind it to the Penguins. Oh, the Hawks go to a line change. Well, they hopped out of that bench area in a hurry. They've been caught for 2 penalties in this playoff series for too many men on the ice, and it's bounced up into the Chicago end, and we get an icing call here against the Penguins. 10:33 left in period number 1. No score on the Penguins Hockey Network. Paul, it's an amazing thing with these two clubs, and it's just a matter of makeup, I think, personality-wise. I don't know, a lot of the Blackhawks individually, though Robbie Brown was certainly characterized kind of a loose guy, but the difference is so day and night. The Penguins are a loose crew on the ice when they have the morning skate and they warm up. The Hawks are very much
regimented.
Yeah, very much so, and not much looseness at all, not much laughing and enjoying it, and I see a big difference in that, in the difference between the two clubs. And here's Kuchera giving the puck to Michel Goulet, and Goulet, right wing pass, hops into the Penguins in, it bounces right to Barrasso, the Penguin goaltender. He'll slam it up the glass, and Bork simply plays it ahead. Here's McEachern with good speed, try to beat Goulet. Goulet overtook him, forced him to make a bad pass, and Larmer gets the puck. Larmer back to the Penguin line, comes in with a slap shot, hit the post. And up to Barrasso as Big Ben struck one. So Larmer fired that one hard. Here's McEachern right back to the Hawks end, going to stand. He shoots it off his stick and right over the head of Eddie Belfour. Roenick circling around. Look out. He is hit by Samuelson and decked heavily. He had his head down. Now Kravchuk comes after him, but it was a good check by Samuelson. It was Roenick coming around with that spinning type of back move, and Samuelson saw him coming and he lined him up, much like Brian Marchment does to opposing players, and he caught him, and really, be honest with you, he could have hit him harder.
You heard Big Ben striking one, and then you saw the shot from Paul Stan that hit a stick and jumped over the head of Eddie Belfour. Larmer can shoot the biscuit. Rolf Samuelson is tremendous at coming up to center ice and meeting you head on. He's so solid on his skates. He loves those mid-ice collisions.
And that was a good solid check that he put on him. It was. And Roenick, I think, can pay tribute to that. He throws a lot of checks himself, Jeremy Roenick. Here at center, Robbie Brown for the Hawks against Ron Francis, who is on now with Kevin Stevens and Rick Tocchet. So Scotty's going to go with this line, pulling Lemieux off. And he'll come up with something different now to match up against the Hawks with, maybe with Lemieux. Robbie Brown with Greg Gilbert and Brian Noonan. And Brownie pulls it back. Marchment and Buskus are the two defensemen, and that's chopped into the Penguins end. And Murphy in a scoreless game, first period, gets the puck over to Gordy Roberts, but he can't clear it. Murphy got it out of midair, forced it up now to center, and a hand pass is called. If you touch it in your own end, it's fine, but if you're across that blue line and touch it, then it's called back on a hand pass. And Koharski's telling Tocchet exactly that. If you get it in your own end, you're fine, but if you're across that line and you touch it, then it is a hand pass. Larry Murphy.
Larry Murphy has gone on a little bit of a goal-scoring drought. No goals in his last 9 games, so that means he's due.
Only one power play chance in this game. It belonged to the Chicago Blackhawks, and they could not convert. They've had the better of the scoring chances here against Barrasso in the first period, but we still remain scoreless. And Buskus bounces it up into the near corner of the Penguin zone. Greg Gilbert of the Hawks after it. Centering pass. Stevens had it, but he ran into his old man Tocchet. Puck forced up to center, and Francis trying to get around him, and does. He gets it over to Tocchet. Down to the Hawks end, comes down, put it in front. Stevens right there. His shot. Big save by Belfour. And Stevens didn't get a whole lot on that shot. As Tocchet turns away now from Brian Noonan and Ron Buskus. But Eddie Belfour standing tall in the net, but frankly, Kevin did not get good wood to that shot, as we have seen him do. When he gets a good, clean wrist shot off or a quick shot, that's why I'll tell you why. Because it was bouncing. The puck was bouncing when it came to him. He never got the good wood to it.
Not only that, but that pass is a long pass. It comes all the way across the body of Stevens before he's able to shoot it. That gives Eddie Belfour plenty of time to get over and make his move. And it was a good move to stack his pads and take the shot away from Kevin Stevens. But the goaltender 9 times out of 10 is going to come across there and stack his pads as he did right there. And what that means is you got to get that shot up as high as you possibly can.
He didn't have much on it. He just didn't have the muster to get it up where he wanted to put it.
It's tougher than you think, taking a pass across the body and then shooting it on the forehand. It's easier for a lot of players to be on the off wing there and turn their body and shoot it the other way.
Rick Tocchet, by the way, has an 8-game scoring streak in the playoffs. He quietly is going about having a big playoff year. And Sutter now, Brent Sutter of the Hawks, commands the puck. And he gets it over to Chelios on the play to Steph Amato. What a strong game for Chicago in game 2 against the Penguins. Here to the near corner, Brent Sutter pulls back his drop pass to Graham, but he's muscled off the puck by Gordy Roberts. And Roberts will take command of the biscuit himself. Swing it to the left side and on to the blue line, but not out. Hawks are doing a good job of keeping that puck in at the blue line at times on the Penguins. Lemieux out here with Yager and Stevens now. Here's a pass to Stevens, a snapshot, and he missed the goal. He got it back and was blocked originally and then put it wide of the net on a big snapshot. Here come the Hawks returning now on the center on the counterattack, and Dirk Graham throws it up into the Penguins end, and Barrasso has it with 8:25 left here in this first period, still scoreless. The Hawks again putting pressure on. Coming down in front of his own net is Gordy Roberts, and he just turns it back to center red. Jeremy Roenick stick handles through traffic, comes up, and he is upended by Gordy Roberts. Penalty coming up. They will go to Goulet. And Michel Goulet shooting the puck, but Barrasso has it, and Gordy Roberts guilty of a tripping call. Chicago with another power play chance. No score. First period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Gordy Roberts played 10 years in the Norris Division for Minnesota and St. Louis, so he has played 72 career games against the Chicago Blackhawks, and about half of those right here in Chicago Stadium. So he's by far played more games than any other Penguin in this building. He just tripped Jeremy Roenick as he came across, kneed him. A dangerous play there by Gordy Roberts. You can hurt a player doing that.
Get him with a knee or the stick, Paul?
Looks like he got his left knee in there, to me. Might have been a combination.
So Roenick went down, but the Hawks have a power play. Their second opportunity here in this first period. And they win the face-off again by Krafchuk Sticko on the center. So Steve Smith not working here in the power play to begin it. Krafchuk and Chris Chelios. Kravchuk has a heavy shot. One of the problems he has is making sure that it gets on net. And the Hawks now feed it to the near corner of the Penguins here. Ulf Samuelsson went in, and he is bumped by Roenick, but the Penguins shell Samuelsson, clears it up ice to take the heat out of a hot kitchen. Eddie Belfour will leave the puck for Chris Chelios. A minute and a half to go. And the penalty to the Penguins, Gordy Roberts, and Chelios rams it right back into the Penguins in. Barrasso could not cut that one off. Lemieux gets the puck, comes out in front to Larmer, shooting, stopped by Barrasso. It comes left side. Kravchuk right side to Chelios, shoots it, blocked by Lemieux. Got his stick out and stopped it. Well, when it's going right for you, it's going right. I don't even think Barrasso realized that he stopped that shot, but he did. I think
it was a bad bounce. Lemieux tried to clear it behind the net. He just shot it along the back boards, and it hit something and jumped right out in front. Lemieux read the play nicely, going over to the corner and taking the puck, and it went off the leg of Samuelsson and came right out in front. Barrasso read it beautifully and
then couldn't find the biscuit.
No, he couldn't. And Lemieux was the guy who did find it and cleared again.
Face off top of the circle to the left of Barrasso in the Hawk zone. A minute 16 to go in the Pittsburgh penalty to Gordy Roberts.
Lemieux has been watched closely by Stéphane Matteau when he's been on the ice against him in this period. Mario is going to have to take advantage of special teams opportunities, I think, here tonight, because they're going to be watching him very closely, shadowing him, staying right with him at even strength as much as they possibly can.
Chelios and Smith now back as the point men with a minute 16 to go. And here's Brownie trying to muscle his way in against Francis. Comes to the right point to Chelios. Poke it down the boards. The Hawks get it. And Noonan trying to slip it in front. Noonan, Brown, and Goulet, the power play unit now for the Chicago Blackhawks. Right point, Chelios skates laterally across. Over to the left point. He moves down the near boards against Ronnie Francis. Comes down, put it in front, and it's off a leg. Goes in behind the net. Murphy working around the boards, but not out. Steve Smith get it to Brown in front of Goulet with a backhander. That stopped, and the rebound cleared by Ulf Samuelsson. Larry Murphy of Pittsburgh trying to find the handle, and he puts it up in the air into the crowd behind the Penguin bench.
The Hawks are getting their chances and opportunities. 11 shots to the Penguins, 4 here in the first period. Their second power play opportunity. Penguins have yet to have one. It's a little backhand shot by Goulet. Didn't get much on it. Barrasso got his left pad on it. And Samuelsson strong in front of the net along with Ronnie Francis to clear it away. Michel Goulet, one of the great left wingers in the history of the game. Look at his numbers. 4 straight seasons he had 57, 56, 55, and 53 goals for the Quebec Nordiques.
He also put a pretty good stick into Jaromir Jagr in game 2. In the midsection, and he has a big welt in the middle of his stomach from a butt-in by Michel Goulet. And here to the near wing, so he can play a little tough too at times. And I asked Greg Malone, the former Penguin, about him, and he said, "Oh, I'm not surprised. He can do that." He said he can stir up things a little bit. Brian Noonan, who played with Goulet in Quebec. And Chelios now up to center, getting the puck over to Brian Noonan. Noonan in the left wing stops on the near boards, knocked down by Murphy. The Hawks still on a power play, 15 seconds left, and it bounces up to center. And Steve Smith corrals the puck. The Hawk defenseman to Noonan. It's going to be called a 2-line offside pass against Chicago. Well, the Penguins are 10 seconds away from extending the Hawks power play opportunities to a 0 mark once again. They will now be 1 for 10 on the power play in this series.
Brian Noonan, a product of the Boston area, as is Jeremy Roenick and of course Kevin Stevens.
Well, Trottier along with Troy Loney. The Hawks just have a little time here to work, and they'll have Hudson out with Gilbert and Jocelyn Lemieux, Kravchuk, and Kuchera. The 2 defensemen. The Penguins have Jimmy Pack and Shel Samuelsson. And Trottier won the draw. This should do it for the penalty. Jim Pack slided up into the Chicago end, and Igor Kravchuk commands the puck with 6:10 left here in the first period. A scoreless game. In game 3, the Penguins lead the series 2-0. Jocelyn Lemieux sneaking around to the near side in the Penguin zone. It comes off the near corner. Hudson is rammed hard by Shel Samuelsson. Jocelyn Lemieux has it. Both teams at equal strength right now. working the far corner. Pack neatly takes him out of the action. And cleared away. Jimmy Pack quietly having an outstanding playoff year once again. A +8 for the Penguins in the playoffs. And Kuchera steps back into the Penguins end. It's forced away and back down to Chicago territory. Igor Kravchuk stepping behind his own goaltender Eddie Belfour. Yager came in. I think Yager's second shift here in this first period. Can't see much ice, and Hudson will shoot it in. Remember, too, the Penguins have had to kill 2 penalties. And that, of course, will not put Yager on the ice. And here he comes now, fresh, coming to the center ice area, giving the puck to Larry Murphy into the Chicago zone. Left point to Gordy Roberts. Shooter towards it, and it's wide. Picked up by Trottier. Makes a little move on Rod Busquets. Got free behind the net. Yager's in there also. Busquets now muscling Trottier against the boards. Yager picks it free. Brett Sutter's all over him. Yager wheel and deal. Yager moves away another turn. Yager comes in. Yager still now going to the left side. Yager turns and shoots it. Blocked by the Chicago defense. Marchman carries the puck up. And Brian Marchman shoots it in. That should be an offside call against Chicago if they touch it. And it will be. We'll be back. No score. First period, 4:54 left on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Brent Sutter was the man that Jaromir Jagr beat out of the corner in game 1 to score the tying goal in that one. And a tremendous individual effort. And after the game, Sutter said that he would do it differently if he had another opportunity. He said, I wouldn't charge at him like I did. I've been taught to stay between the man and the net as much as possible and kind of play the zone if I can. And he took himself out of position by charging at Jagr and allowed Jagr to dance right around him. That time, though, he stayed right with Jagr pretty well as Jagr was turning and twisting and changing direction back and forth. And Sutter stayed right with him to play good defense.
McEachran at center here with Talkin and Stevens. And McEachran shoots it from 50 feet right in on Belfour, and he stops that and knocks it down. Holding on. We haven't seen Lemieux get as much ice time here in this first period as we were accustomed to, although he did kill a lot of penalty time in the power play chances that the Hawks had.
See the Stanley Cup champs on home video by calling Genesis Video Productions at 1-800-TRY-PENS. Place your order and receive 2 free Mario Lemieux hockey cards with your purchase. Eddie Belfour was sharpening his skates this morning. He sharpens his own skates and has done so since college. Prefers to do it himself. He has a special way of sharpening them. When he stands in goal, his feet kind of collapsed inward at the ankles, and so he needs his blades to be sharpened at an angle to allow for that.
And a big year for the Hawks. Pack left point, shot it, deflected in. Rick Tocchet, I believe, will get the goal, and the Penguins take a 1-0 lead. Oh, getting the fast lane, Grandma. The bingo game is ready to roll. Pack shot it from the left point. I think Tocchet may have deflected it in. We'll wait and see. They seem to think McEachran got it, but somebody got a stick on it on the way to the net, and the Penguins have scored to take a 1-0 lead.
All that talk about losing faceoffs, the Penguins won that one. McEachran won it. The shot came through from Pack, and I believe it might have hit McEachran on the way in. It bounced right underneath Eddie Belfour, and the Penguins have a 1-0 lead, and Jim Pack is now a +9. Tocchet going to the net certainly didn't hurt either.
Well, we'll wait and find out here. It is Tocchet who gets the goal. That's the way it's announced. So Tocchet now with a 9-game scoring streak. And Tocchet's looking at McEachran. He's pointing to him as if to say it was his goal. So I think that's going to change. I got a funny feeling that they're going to change the goal. We'll wait and see. Tocchet kind of looked at McEachran, so now I'm guessing McEachran may be awarded this goal by the time it's done. It doesn't matter right now. The Penguins lead 1-0.
He raised his game in that series, but he got opportunity. And I think when you're young and you have that kind of enthusiasm, the energy, and obviously we all knew he had skill, but his skating speed, I mean, there's no comparison. Like in all of our skating, when it comes to Sean McEachran, I mean, he's just another level of speed, and he's got that youthful energy, and holy cow, he was just inspiring to the whole group. And guys coming back to the bench, high-fiving the kid. Now he's getting more energy from the bench. It was just really kind of a rolling effect.
Jocelyn Lemieux center. It comes in front of McEachran. Does a good job defensively of cleaning up his own area. Force it back to the point, but not out. Steve Smith over to the near boards. Getting the puck to Jocelyn Lemieux. And the Hawks have basically just had the upper hand here in this first period, but they trail now 1-0. And we've seen games go like that. You can be on the other end of them, too. Bouncing around as it Comes to Shell Samuelson. A breaking Lemieux comes on. Mario has not been on a whole lot. He comes on fresh now to the Chicago end, but the Hawks get there first, and we have an icing call against the Penguins.
Well, you know it's discouraging when you're getting all the chances early in a hockey game and you've got a goaltender as hot as Tom Barrasso is, and then you allow that first goal. And that's what you look for on the road, that strong goaltending early in the game, and then capitalize on your opportunities. McEachern won the draw cleanly. Jimmy Pack cranked it up.
It hit a Hawk player, then hit a Penguin player, and then bounced, hit another stick. And Taka was in front. I don't know if he touched it. It looked to me like it hit 3 different people on the way in. McEachern raised his arm. See his raised his arm right there?
Yeah.
I think that he thinks that he last touched it, and Taka was around. I just think that Taka looked at Koharski, the referee. It'll hit 3 different players coming in. It's so slow there.
Eddie Belfour tried to turn his stick over to get to the shot and lean back with that stick.
Yeah, Taka never got a piece of it. So it'll probably be McEachern's goal. And when it is changed, it'll be his 3rd of the playoffs. So Grandma's in the fast lane right now. Rolling along. Taka. So you talk about a guy that's been possessed. He has been, boys, since joining the Penguins to want to win a Stanley Cup when Penguins.
And I think the other Penguins are feeding off that a little bit, too. You know, they've won one already, a lot of the guys on this team. And
now we've got a holding call against Chicago. Larmer looking at referee Koharski, but it may be Michel Goulet. Michel Goulet is going to be sent off for holding. And the Chicago Blackhawks trailing 1-0. Now we'll see a Penguin power play that has gone 3 for 11 against the Hawks in the series.
To finish the thought, Mike, the Penguins are just as hungry for a cup as they were a year ago, but it's just that Tocchet is kind of starving for it. You know, there's a difference, and I think that enthusiasm that he has for wanting to win it is kind of rubbing off on the other guys.
I'll tell you, Keenan is a guy that's struggling right now to keep his composure. His team is trailing 2-0, and he's not too happy with a call by Koharski on the holding minor. And Brent Sutter with Dirk Graham in a shorthanded situation. Pens will have Francis, Yager, Stevens up front, Lemieux and Murphy. And here's Lemieux in the Hawks end, shooting the puck around to the near side. Larry Murphy has the puck. Got it behind the net to Stevens of the Penguins. Hit heavily by Chelios, but Lemieux comes up with it. Mario to the left point to Ronnie Francis. Going to shoot it. It bounces off the leg, going to Chelios. Chelios comes around and fires it off the sideboards and up ice. You just said something to referee Don Koharski about something. I'm not sure what that was all about. Here's Larry Murphy coming out of his own end. Puts the afterburner on, skates to center. Going to Stevens. Look out. Smith avoided just trying to knock him down, but he couldn't get him. And Larmer plays it up to center to Dirk Graham. Graham shorthanded to the Penguins end. Look out. He makes the play and shoots it. He didn't get anything on that shot at all. It must have been on edge when he fired it. Larmer in the Penguins end. Put it in front. Look out. Right in front to Graham, and he can't hold it again. And that puck is hopping around on Dirk Graham. Yager spins it ahead to Stevens of the Penguins, trying to drop pass for Lemieux, and Chelios read it beautifully and broke up the play. Larmer to the right wing, and Ulf Samuelson got a stick under it. It deflects up into the seats. Tremendous penalty killing by Chicago.
Well, Steve Larmer, one of the best in all of hockey.
He really is.
You remember the goal he scored in the Canada Cup for Team Canada against Team USA. The winning goal in that series, in that Canada Cup series, was a shorthanded goal by Steve Larmer. He's very, very dangerous shorthanded. Mario Lemieux has been taking a pretty good beating from Blackhawk players in this first period.
Mario raised the stick back towards Chelios, which leads me to believe something happened before that. He might have been whacked, and Lemieux came in and kind of gave him the impression that he was going to hit him with a stick, and then he skated away from the situation. And I think he got a pretty good matchup going on here now with Chelios and Mario Lemieux.
Chelios said today that, we want to be, pumped up by our crowd tonight at home, but at the same time we have to be careful not to get to running around and become over anxious. You kind of have to control your emotions when you feel the home crowd here at Chicago Stadium, and all the Hawks were talking that theme this afternoon. Now Mike Keenan talking to Koharski about the call.
He's telling me not calling that all the time, and he's giving him a pretty good earful to Koharski. And he just told him, sit back. I'll tell you, he better be careful right now, because Koharski taking a lot of guff from Mike Keenan, and that may not last too long. And here's Ulf Samuelson. Throw it ahead. Lemieux goes after it for the Penguins. Going to the Chicago end. Drop it up to Stevens. He has a chance. Goes to Tocchet. Back in front. He shoots it, and it was blocked by Steve Smith. Nice defensive play. Lemieux looks for the loose puck. Mario's got it in the left wing circle. Pulls back. Breaks Chelios with him. Over to the right side to Wolf Samuelsson to the pin. Center point to Murphy. Shoots it. Blocked by Mateau. Mateau's trying to golf it out of there, and he will. They hurried along to the Penguin zone with 35 seconds left here, and the penalty to Michel Goulet. And off Samuelson's pass behind Tocchet. Finds Stevens rushing back into the Chicago end, trying to muscle his way in against Brent Sutter. They'll go into the corner. Steve Smith right there. So is Larmer. Smith now working the corner, and he gets it on the backhand up ahead of the blue line. Off Samuelsson put it in the zone. It'll be an offside play as Lemieux runs into Steve Larmer. And now Stevens comes over and he falls down as he tries to get back at Larmer. Kevin Stevens, Artie will have to get himself up. All 220 pounds of him.
Well, the play had stopped, and Larmer just kept on traveling in the direction of Lemieux and bumped into him. So Stevens kept on traveling in the direction of Larmer and bumped into him.
"15 seconds left on the Chicago penalty, and 1:28 left here in the first period.
Brent Sutter put the headlock on Stevens as he went down the left wing boards on the power play.
Scotty Bowman trying to win his 6th Stanley Cup. Won 5 with Montreal. And said his sweetest moment of winning a Stanley Cup was when the Canadiens won. Of the 5 they won 4 in a row. Was the one they won at home when he was the coach there. And wristed up deep now to the Penguin zone. The penalty has expired. The Hawks have killed it, so the Penguins 0 for 1 on the power play. Loney comes up. He is out here with Trottier and Yager at the moment, and Michel Goulet is going to blast it back into the Penguins in. Off the boards, off Samuelsson trying to clear it out. He couldn't do it. Penguins lead 1-0. Chelios knocked down deep, and he is really coming into the play in the Penguin zone here. He'd love to move up a little bit further, especially in this building. Stanton trying to get to it. He can't. Loose puck. Larmer trying to shoot it. Penalty coming up against the Penguins. Trottier touched the puck, but the Penguins just forced in their own end so heavily. It'll be a holding call against Pittsburgh with 45 seconds left here in this first period. Well, certainly we've seen Chelios in twice now behind the net, which we have not seen at all, if I can remember, in the first 2 games of the series.
And Smith was in deep also. Everybody was all out of position and kind of flip-flopped out there on the ice. You had Larmer out by the blue line.
They want a goal, and I mean, they want it badly right now. They just feel that they've got to get something here on the board. Yager's the guilty party, and Yarmer does not take many penalties at all.
Larmer went flying towards the net, Mike. He was out by the blue line covering for the defense, and as soon as he saw an opening, he went flying towards the net. He was really skating when he got hauled down.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Keenan barked and yelled and screamed at Koharski, and I'm not saying Yager didn't commit the penalty, but he did enough of it to make him aware of everything, and so the Hawks will have their 3rd power play chance. My only question is the language that he used, and I think everybody that's watching could see exactly what he was saying. I mean, there's some integrity here to that, too, is there not? I mean, if you did that to an umpire, you would be getting the hot water pretty quick.
See Larmer bolting in around Trottier to get to that puck, and Yager hauled down Steve Smith. That's who he tackled to draw the holding penalty.
Give Koharski credit, too, for maintaining here, knowing the heat of the situation.
Yeah, Keenan's still yelling at him, Mike, and he's got himself a power play right now.
And Lemieux trying to clear, can't do it. Steve Smith over to Roenick on the left side. Cross-rink pass in the corner for Chris Chelios. Chelios, a very important time for the Penguins right now. The final 45, I think, for them to try and kill at least the clock off here and take the lead to the locker room. Larmer over to the left side to Steve Smith. Smith shoots it, deflected, stopped in front. Coming over to Francis, and he'll clear it away. Back into Chicago territory. This will give the Penguins time to regroup in the first intermission. And the Hawks have momentum right now going for them. They want to cash in at the moment. Steve Larmer with 13 seconds to go in the period. Finding Goulet into the Penguins in his wrist shot. And that went right over the head of Barrasso. Roenick gets a turning around, and he got the shot up, and really unbelievable stop by Barrasso. I don't think he even knew that it was coming around. He had to skate there and made the stop on Jeremy Roenick. There's one of those plays when it's going right for you. Roenick comes behind the net, turns it around. Sometimes it can just go in off your skate, and this time I don't even think he realized that the puck was there and his skate happened to be in the right place. And there he is.
Tell you what he had there was his stick, and he made the play there anticipating a possible play by Roenick. Watch what he does with his stick. He pushes it over towards the post and turns it outside so that if it comes around, he's able to stop it. Good play by Barrasso to read that play, and Roenick has incredible speed and skating ability.
Especially behind the net.
He can dance on his skates. At top speed, he's able to change direction, tremendous lateral movement.
Well, it's fun to watch a goaltender at the top of his game, and Barrasso is at that right now. I mean, it is. There's just nothing like it in this sport. And when you get two of them going at one another on that level with a lot of play,
it makes scoring a goal that much more of a monumental occasion.
It's like a pitcher's duel to me. It really is. It's tremendous. Face-off, one by the Hawks. Left point, Chelios trying to walk in. Got a man in front of it right by Kravchuk. 1 second remaining. And they backhand it towards the net as the siren sounds here in Chicago. So the Penguins will lead the series 2-1. Trying to win here on the road and go up by 3. And Samuelsson and Jeremy Roenick now have heated words after the siren sounded here in Chicago. But that is it. The end of the first period, and the Penguins lead in Game 3, 1-0 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Spring in Pittsburgh. For the last 13 years, it has brought us together. And while we aren't physically together this year, we are most certainly all together. We are used to seeing gold towels, feeling an overtime goal, and cheering for heroes based on their surname. We are seeing that the human spirit cannot be broken, feeling the warmth of people helping those in need, and cheering the heroes based on their profession. So, while there may not be hockey this spring, we are all engaged with the playoff intensity to win this battle. We are in this together.
Well, they are going to give the goal now to Kevin Stevens, not McEachran. They've made another change. So Kevin Stevens from McEachran and Pack. I'm not sure if they know what they want to do. Like I said, nonetheless, it's in the net. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. Stevens, it would be his 12th of the playoffs. And the Hawks right now start the second period on a power play. Jaromir Jagr in the penalty box, and the Hawks have 1 minute left right now in a power play against the Penguins. And they drive into the Penguins in. Roenick goes after it right around behind the net. Over to the near side. Roenick to the right point to Chelios. The left side to Smith. Smith in the slot. Stolen by Ronnie Francis, and he clears it away. Mario Lemieux and Ronnie Francis, the penalty killers for the Penguins up front. Francis will go off now, and Phil Bourque comes on. And here's the lead pass to Roenick. Now Roenick to center ice, and he'll shoot it into the right wing corner. Sutter will get the puck. Brent Sutter looking to make a pass in front. He can't do it. Instead, he leaves the puck for Steve Larmer. Larmer gave it right to Phil Bourque of the Penguins. And Bourque on to center circle, drops it up into Chicago territory with 20 seconds left on the Jagr penalty. Chicago defenseman Steve Smith. Final rush coming up. Robbie Brown, number 22. Brownie comes to center. McEachran overtakes him, but he dumps it off with a good pass over to Smith, trying to wheel his way around. Shel Samuelsson does. Goes to Dirk Graham. Graham in front now. A quick shot right on that. Save is made, and Matteau put it on. Barrasso with the save. Here's Smith with the puck. Around to Robbie Brown. Look out. Goes to Graham. He shoots it. It trickles wide of the net. Penalty is over, and Jagr is on the ice. Penguins at equal strength, and McEachran and Jagr come back 2-on-2 against Smith and Chelios. McEachran right side. Drop pass to Jagr. Pulls around. Chelios comes in and shoots it, but he missed. That net, it came off the boards, and it's stopped by Eddie Belfour. Now again, that move that Jagr can make. He came in with full speed against Chelios, stopped on a dime, turned, got the opportunity to go back across the green and shoot it, but he missed the net.
He's so strong on the backhand side of his stick, Jaromir Jagr, with the puck on his backhand side of his stick, that he's able to slam on the brakes the way he did right there and maintain control of the puck. Barrasso with another big save on the penalty killing effort. There haven't been a lot of rebound opportunities or second opportunities for the Hawks. But they've had some pretty good scoring chances out in front of Tom Barrasso in this game so far. And that goal belongs to Kevin Stevens.
Now, if they come back and say Talkett got it, it would make a complete hat trick, would it not?
Yep. Kevin went a little bit of a tough spell there in the first two games of the series, but he was sick for the first 2 games too. Just wasn't up to snuff.
Right point of the Chicago end. It's dumped over to the left point to Roberts of Pittsburgh. His shot blocked by Gilbert, who gave his body up, trying to wheel it out with his hand. Does on the center, and Gordy Roberts sets it up for Larry Murphy. Those two are paired defensively. Yager bursting back into the Chicago end against Kuchera. Yager behind the net, wards off one check, comes around from behind, centers in it, one right by Herdina. Over to the right point. Murphy trying to hold it in, he leaves it there, and Herdina poking into the boards. Yager trying to get to it, it bounced off his blade and on the center to Mike Hudson of Chicago. Hudson to the Penguins end. Ridden off the play by Roberts. He tried to center anyway. A loose puck dumped over to the near side of the Penguin zone, and Kravchuk can't make a play, and the Penguins chop it away to the Chicago line. Gray Gilbert of Chicago will shoot it in. And Barrasso, the Penguin goaltender, watches as Murphy touches the puck, and we have an icing call against Chicago. 1-0 Pittsburgh, second period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Larry Murphy is just unbelievable at the point. Going with the player coming at him at the point. He had Mike Hudson coming towards him. He allowed him to take him, but he left the puck there. He pushed it back down the boards. He's great at that. He is so good on his skates. And Yager with a great opportunity again as he wheeled around the back of the cage. Our Foodland Hot Shot contestant, second period, Lisa Zarlingo of Lowellville, Ohio. $500 worth of groceries in the jackpot.
Who's our goal scorer? Sean McEachran is our goal scorer.
Okay.
And it's bounced up into the Penguins end again. The puck, and Barrasso gathers it in. The only goal of the game in the first period now. Kevin Stevens with his 12th of the playoffs from Jimmy Pack and Sean McEachran at 15:26 of the first period. And that's the way it reads. Trottier will come on for the Penguins. Francis is going to come off, as they're going to use Trottier apparently against Brent Sutter, who dominated on the faceoffs in the first period. So the young veteran Trottier, as he likes to be referred to, will handle the faceoff here against another young veteran, Brent Sutter. Faceoff to the left of Barrasso. Penguin defensemen right now are Stanley and Ulf Samuelsson. Right side it comes to Chris Chelios. Chelios working into the corner. Stevens pushed him off the puck. Ulf Samuelsson still in his own end. Sliding down the boards and off the center ice. Karam's into Chicago territory. Dirk Graham back to hustle to get the puck. Steps behind his own net and relays it over to Steve Smith. Smith's pass right to Rick Tocchet of the Penguins. Tocchet leaves it for Francis. Gets some momentum going to the Chicago end. Looking for Stevens. Sutter got a piece of Francis in front for Tocchet, but broken up by Chelios. Now the pins. Have it, and they shoot it and deflected just wide of the goal. Stanton was almost able to kind of pinball that one in as it hit a leg and carry him wide of the net. And the Hawks lifted back to Penguin territory. Ulf Samuelsson hit by Stefan Matteau. On to center, and it's thrown up into the Chicago zone. The Hawks have not used the body like they did in Game 2 against the Penguins, where they were just absolutely devastating at times. They've been a little bit more reserved. Roenick, though, to the Penguins end. Cut around Tocchet, moves in and shoots it, and Barrasso stopped him. As Roenick gave him one of those $1 million moves that only he can do coming down that left side. And Barrasso stopped him cold.
Ronnie Francis upset with himself, Mike, that they allowed that scoring opportunity.
Roenick loves to go the left side of the ice. And the Pens just could not stop him. That's the first time he's had that rush where he can make it so well. He got around Samuelsson and then put the shot on, and Barrasso, falling down, made the save. Tommy has been excellent tonight.
Unbelievable. Look how quickly back up on his skates, too, to get ready for another opportunity in case there was one on the rebound. And Ulf Samuelsson came across trying to submarine Roenick. Flat on his stomach as he came diving over to try to break up the play. Igor Kravchuk whipped it around the boards, and Roenick just picked it up in full flight and took off with that puck.
Right back to the net. Barrasso from the faceoff in the Penguins end. Snares that one out of the air. And he holds again for another draw. Mario Lemieux with Phil Bourque and Jaromir Jagr right now, and Trottier comes on. And Jagr will come off.
Lemieux took a lot of face-offs in Game 2. Remember, Mike, you commented that he was taking a lot of draws, and now they're going with Trottier, and I'm wondering if...
In fact, I don't think Mario's taken one tonight.
I'm wondering if his back isn't bothering him a little bit tonight. Because they're using Trottier in every situation on the face-offs.
Well, Sutter just killing Francis, I mean, to be honest about it. And of course, Roenick's out here, and they've had such an upper hand with the face-off. This time the Penguins win it, and Jimmy Pack skates through to center red, and he's going to shoot it up inside the Hawks line. A turnover there as Kravchuk had it, but he lost it to Phil Bourque, and Bourque will wind it in behind Eddie Belfour. The Chicago goaltender leaves the puck for Kuchera. He'll sneak it left wing to Michel Goulet. Goulet, Roenick, and Larmer, the trio out for the Chicago Blackhawks. Larmer overtaken on the play, and the Penguins in by Jagr, but he can't get it out. Roenick goes to Goulet behind the net. Michel Goulet turned around by Jimmy Pack, and Mario Lemieux now comes up with a biscuit. Lemieux, the Pens captain, firing up the right wing, too far for Yager, and Kuchera rams it right back into Penguin real estate. Barrasso comes out of the net. Cooley plays it around the near side. The Hawks trying to keep it in. They do, but now they lose it to Pack, and on to center to Yager, who has a little room. Goes to Bork on the right side. Chicago in. Bork comes in, puts the brakes on, fire it for Lemieux, and it hit his skates. He tried to shoot it anyway. Yager takes over. Jaromir Jagr gets around Kravchuk, going behind the net, steps out in front. His backhander step, loose fronted. Burke trying to put it in, and he can't do it. Now Lemieux being held and turned around by Jeremy Roenick. Play continues up the far side. Lemieux gets in front. Bork's right out in front. He shoots it. Save made by Eddie Belfour. The Hawks try and clear, and they can't. Murphy of the Penguins shoots it in. Lemieux is knocked down and flattened by Kravchuk. I think a penalty coming up against the Hawks. A cross-checking call. It might be Roenick, but Chicago will be shorthanded. The Penguins, again, buzzing like bees around a hive. Their first real sustained threat of the game. And we'll be back. The Pens won, the Hawks nothing on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Joseph Elko of West Mifflin has a chance to win $100 on our Ironman Advantage contest. Yager walking out of the corner on Kravchuk. Got the puck over. It came to Bork. He fanned on it. Then Bork got it back and walked out from behind the net with it. He had Lemieux parked right in front, but didn't go to him. Maybe he felt that Lemieux was tied up. He saw that man coming in on Lemieux. That was Larmer, and he decided not to go to him. He tried to jam it in himself, and then Lemieux was dumped in front of the goal by Steve Larmer, and the Penguins on a power play.
Larmer knocked him down. The Penguins on a cross-checking call. And their second power play chance. The turkey on the table. They lead 1-0, and Tocchet picks up the mail. Going to the Chicago line, trying to muscle his way in around Steve Smith, but he lost the puck to Dirk Graham, and again the Penguins have to go all the way back to their own zone. This is where the Hawks excel so much in penalty killing. We've commented several times in this series. When they clear the puck, they are likely to get it all the way up ice, which kills a lot of the clock and also forces the Penguins to go back in a tiresome maneuver to go and get it. And they got to go all the way back to their own end again to get it as the Hawks clear one more time. Pass by Barrasso, finds Tocchet. And Stevens looking for the puck, and it's broken up by Steve Smith. Now Murphy of the Penguins has it. Going to Tocchet on to Lemieux, right side of the Chicago end. Lemieux comes in, they back off. Look out, he's got a chance here. Lemieux goes to Murphy, and he shoots it and went right over the head of Eddie Belfour. When you see a player come in and then back off Lemieux, you got to be careful what will happen next. And here's Chelios coming back shorthanded. He shoots one. That's deflected by Larry Murphy. Mateau in the corner. And Lemieux beats him to it. Mario's turned around. Got the puck to Tocchet. Couldn't get it back over to Lemieux. And Mateau to the Penguins in a slap shot from 50 feet. Missed the mark. Chicago impressive in their penalty killing right now. Mateau running. Stevens hit him against the boards. 40 seconds to go. And the Penguins have yet to get a shot on this power play. Not only that, they haven't had a shot in this period so far. And the Hawks do a big job of killing the penalty so far. 37 seconds left. And it's funny because the Penguins are now 3 for 12, which is 25% of the power play, but frankly, the penalty killing to the Hawks has been very good against the Penguins in this series. But against the firepower the Penguins have, it only takes one shot sometimes. That's it, and it's in the net. And you can go a minute and 50 seconds, or a minute 58, 59, but as long as you get that one shot that goes in, it still works. 17-6, the shots on goal. McEachran, Yager, and Lemieux up front, but the Hawks have it from the faceoff. And they again draw it down the near side of the Penguins' near corner. Graham and Ulf Samuelsson battling for it. Dirk Graham trying to center. Penguins having trouble in their own zone as the Hawks really put the pressure on. Penalty killing way up in your own end. Brent Sutter forcing Yager. And the Penguins lose it. Left point. Kuchera shoots it. That was offline. Stanley of the Penguins trying to find room, but the Hawks won't let him have it. And they push it right back inside the Penguins in. Ulf Samuelsson finding McEachran. He jams his way into the Chicago end. A long slap shot got through Belfour, but it trickled wide of the goal. Off that far side, 1 second remaining in the penalty, and it comes on to center, and the Hawks have easily killed the penalty. But right back into the Chicago end. Belfour is going to come out and approaching Yager, trying to get in, but Belfour put it in the corner. Off the far wing, Chicago's Michel Goulet, and on to center to Brett Sutter. Sutter to the Penguin line, a slap shot down low on Barrasso, and he makes that save. Larmer holds it now for the Hawks in the far corner. Centers it back out to Brent Sutter. Sutter drags it over to the left side. He turns and fires it. Penalty coming up against the Penguins. So look out, Stan's going to be called here for knocking down Steve Larmer. Holding the call against Paul Stanton. The Hawks, who just killed a penalty, now go to the power play, and we'll be back. Pittsburgh 1, Chicago 0 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
7 straight games now that Paul Stanton has taken a penalty. 8 of the last 9 games he has been in the penalty box in these playoffs.
And yet his play has been superb for the Penguins in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It really has. He has brought it up another level. But he gets caught this time with his hand in the cookie jar. This was McEachran's shot that trickled through Belfour and went wide. That's the kind of play I'm talking about, where you get down to the final seconds, you end up scoring a goal, but it didn't happen that time. Larmer now. And a false face-off. They want to do it again. Brian Trottier along with Ronnie Francis.
The Blackhawks really picked up their work rate on that penalty killing effort. They were working so hard to kill the penalty that they got themselves some momentum, and then it'll give your bench a lift. And then when you get the power play opportunity right after that, the power play unit has to work just as hard. There's a tendency at times to think the players, when we're on the power play, to think they don't have to work as hard because they have that extra man on the ice. But normally with a penalty killing unit working as hard as they do, that just means you have to work hard, because you really could be vulnerable to a shorthanded goal, and the Penguins did almost have one scored against them.
Well, the scoreboard clock ticked off a second at 1:59 and left, and of course with a false face-off the clock should have never started, and they'll hold the clock for 1 second and then restart it. So that's how they'll get the second back. The Hawks were screaming and desperate for that time. I'll tell you, you can just feel it on their bench. They're just so desperate to score a goal right now, Paul. And they're doing anything they can, anyway, to try and get that advantage, or to get it in the net. Here's Chelios up the far wing. Lost it to Larry Murphy, and Murphy trying to clear it out. Kept in by Igor Kravchuk, the Chicago point man, but he flips it for the glass, and it went up into the seats. And they'll bring it outside of the Chicago line. Face-off will be on the far side of the rink at center ice, and now the Penguins make some changes. Lemieux comes out along with Ronnie Francis, and Murphy and Ulf Samuelsson will be on the backside.
Igor Kravchuk was the captain of the Russian team in the Canada Cup in '91.
Here's a new look. I'll tell you, I'm telling you right now, Keenan is just desperate to get a goal. He's going to put Larmer out here and take Kravchuk and Smith off the points. Bork, who went to the equipment room for a repair. The locker room for some equipment repair has come back on. But now they're going to use Larmer at the left point with Chelios at the right. They may even use Roenick and move him back in there possibly. And Larmer at center circle. Gets it over to Chelios, who will wrap it into the Penguins in. It comes off the left side. Goulet to Roenick, who's hit heavily by Ulf Samuelsson. The puck free, and it comes off Chelios to Mario Lemieux. Lemieux short-handed, got around Larmer, look out, the right side, moves in, got a man in front, Francis, but play is going to be called back on an offside play.
And that's the danger that you have there when you put that forward on the point, is that Mario Lemieux is out there, and he will take advantage of that, because forwards generally aren't going to be as good defensively coming back, and Lemieux
I want to see if he keeps Larmer out there. I want to see if he keeps Larmer out there. He's going to bring Sutter on.
I love it every time they put a forward on the point when Lemieux's out there killing penalties. The greatest goal I think he ever scored, as far as just sheer determination and showing the tremendous ability and strength that he has, was a shorthanded goal against the Quebec Nordiques 4 years ago. And Marc Fortier was a forward playing the point. And he jumped on his back, and Lemieux carried him all the way to the net and scored an unbelievable goal against Mario Gosselin.
Now Chelios and Noonan will be the point man. They're going to move Sutter, Roenick, and Larmer up front. So Mike Keenan still changing things around here a little bit. Chelios at center, blasted up to the Penguins in. Barrasso is going to handle the puck. Cleared it around. Larmer caught it with his chest, knocked it down, but Murphy's right there to play it away, and Chelios has a broken blade. He'll leave it on the ice and get a new piece of timber. He's going to come off the ice right now. Roenick giving the puck over to Igor Kravchuk, and Kravchuk sneaking to the Penguins in. Ulf Samuelsson, who's been strong tonight for the Penguins, gets it to Lemieux. A good pass left wing to Bork of the Pens. Coming shorthanded with that speed against Kravchuk. Go into the near corner, and now Larmer gets possession of the puck. Larmer's pass to Brian Noonan. Noonan with 53 seconds to go on the Penguin penalty. Back to the near wing and shoots it in behind the net. Barrasso got enough of it to get into the far corner. Larmer poke it back to the left point to Jeremy Roenick. Roenick on to Larmer, and the Pens skate it away, and Lemieux's able to clear, and he calls for somebody to get off right now. McEachran jumps over the boards, and Mario's off the ice. 33 seconds left. Back of the Penguins to McEachran. Over to Shell Samuelsson, and he'll dump it in behind the Chicago goal. The Hawks on their fourth power play chance. And Steve Smith will step to center red. He'll draw it to the Penguin zone. Up the near wing. Digging for the puck, Brian Noonan. Penguins beat him to it, and they simply clear it away. The Penguins have the size to match up against Chicago in those board situations too, and they've done a good job in this series so far in matching up against Chicago. Goulet streaking down the left wing of the Penguins in a wrist shot that missed the target. Penalty is over. The Penguins back to equal strength as Paul Stanton is on, and he hurries over to the bench, and Troy Loney comes off to join the parade along with Yager and Brian Trottier. And four-step inside the Penguin line. Pack a lead pass to Yager. Yager to the Chicago end. Stops around Marchment. Walks in on goal. Backhand shot. Save made by Belfour. Rebound. Looney can't put it in. Where's the puck? And goaltender Belfour somehow has that as they jam up on Yager. And Troy Loney right in front of that net. Boy, Eddie Belfour coming up big there for the Chicago Blackhawks. As Jaromir Jagr put Brian Marchment out on the highway going to Milwaukee for just a moment. We'll be back in a moment. Pens 1, Chicago nothing on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Jimmy Pack has become very effective for the Penguins. He's a stay-at-home defenseman, a defensive player, but when he gets an opportunity to move the puck to a forward in center ice, he gets it there. He did it again this time to Yager, who made a move on Marchment. In fact, made two moves, and give Marchment credit for getting back up and getting himself back into position. There's Belfour with that stick flat on the ice again. Yager went up top, but he got the glove on it. On the rebound, try by Loney. Yager with a backhander to the right side. Belfour with that stick flat to the ice, and then Loney tried to bury it, and I think Belfour got his arm on it.
I think the second save was probably better than the first that he made on Loney. Now on the right wing side of the Chicago end, Stanton put it in the circle to the left of Belfour. Hawks take that away, and they scoot to center, and they shoot it up behind Penguin goaltender Tom Barrasso. He hurries it off the sideboards on out. Steve Smith flutters one in on a shot from the left point. Went over the head of Barrasso. Pens can't clear it. Chelios right point shoots a glove by Barrasso. He got that right paw down and pulled it in. He made it look easy. Chelios shot that one through a whole bunch of traffic on the way to the net.
Yeah, it's one thing to be able to stop it when it's coming through traffic like that on deflections and whatnot, but it's a whole other thing to be able to catch it. And Barrasso just has that glove right where he wants it to be every time, and he snatched it up with that webbing in the glove. Chelios had some good time to get that away, too. He dragged it off the boards and fired it back to the net down low. The Hawks running interference in front of Barrasso, but Tommy able to see the puck and hang on to it. Finish the thought about Jimmy Pack. He made a good play the other night to Bob Airy on the shorthanded goal to get the game going for the Penguins. Similar play where he took it in his own end and quickly moved it out to center ice and found Airy, and he went in and scored the goal.
And the Pac-Man assisted on the Penguins' only goal, and the only one of this game. The Penguins lead 1-0. 10:07 left here in period number 2.
And at +9, that would tie him for the top spot in that department on the Penguins team.
Ronnie Francis.
Yep.
You know, that building is obviously the old Chicago Stadium with the organ and everything. I think our guys were focused, and we had a good crew of guys, like you said, that were just very composed, had some good experience. We won the year before, so we had that confidence. We kind of got in their grill a little bit and in their head and their confidence. They were desperate, but also, you know, kind of a team that, you know, Chelios and Roenick and that crew were like, oh my God, we don't want to give them any life because, you know, they might run with it.
And they lead it through to center ice. Brent Sutter has it for Chicago, giving the puck to Steve Smith. And he'll wrap it right up the shin pad of Larry Murphy. Pens come up to Stevens ahead for Tocchet now, trying to get behind Brent Sutter. Tocchet comes down. He's pulled down. Nothing called. And play goes on as it's Belfour who covered the puck and got it. Tocchet went to the net. He was knocked down by Brent Sutter, but play continued. And Eddie Belfour, the Hawks, grabbed the loose puck, and we get a face-off in Chicago territory.
Took Stevens a half a second to get that puck to Tocchet. He had speed at the blue line, but Sutter showed good speed there to get back and basically hook him off his skates and haul him down, and nothing called.
Yeah, I just think that Koharski, in reading that play, and the Pens didn't say too much, just felt that he had his opportunity and that he just couldn't get himself where he wanted to, and it wouldn't have been that good a scoring chance anyway. So,
on the other hand, I think that in the regular season he might have called that.
Yeah.
This broadcast is intended for the private use of our viewing audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Pittsburgh Hockey Associates is strictly prohibited.
Talk about a big line out here now. Lemieux, Tocchet, and Stevens. And, you know, if you put Jagr, he's even taller against this matchup of Roenick, Stefan Matteau, and Steve Larmer. The Penguins certainly have the size advantage here. Stevens around that far wing. Matteau, and he collide, and Steve Smith spinning up to the quick-moving Jeremy Roenick. Into the Penguins in against Stanton. Pulls back, good pass. Chelios comes in. He shoots it, was partially deflected. In that first period, we saw the Hawks. Here's Tocchet rambling back, going to the Chicago end against Steve Smith. Put the brakes on, fell down. Forced it up into the corner against Chelios. Stanton way in deep on the play, but Chelios got there first. And now what? A penalty coming up here against Chelios. Chelios slashed somebody. And the Hawk defenseman will be sitting down. 9:04 left here in period number 2. The Penguins lead 1-0 over the Hawks on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Chris Chelios had a pretty good opportunity coming back into the Pittsburgh zone, but Lemieux came back and picked his pocket. And then Chelios picked up a slashing penalty, and I think he picked it up long before that, long before he got in deep in the offensive zone, or in the defensive zone. It was back and going the other way, and Lemieux picked his pocket. He turned around and whacked Lemieux as Lemieux started heading the puck back up the other way.
So Pittsburgh on the power play, their third chance against the Hawks, who last time out did a tremendous job of killing the penalty. You wonder how many times the Hawks can do this, though, against this offense. Here, the right side, Murphy. Throw it down in the corner, and Steve Smith comes after the puck. Ronnie Francis ties him up. Loose puck grabbed by Kevin Stevens. Put it out in front of Belfour. Right in the crease, and Stevens was hit in the face. Right in front of the net. Kevin got hit and then rolled over. And Stevens is not a guy prone to taking dives. Koharski will not have any part of it, although Stevens was coming in.
He stepped in front and Sutter just whacked him. He got his face in some traffic there as he came through. And the stick did come up. Catch him in the face.
It was Brent Sutter, and Stevens now drawing away.
Brent Sutter, talked to him today. He uses a stick, Mike, that is so short. And he goes by his fingers. He uses 3 fingers from the top of the shaft. That's how he knows how much shorter he wants it to be than the length that the stick is when it comes to him from the manufacturer. And he has it. It's a short stick. It really is. And about the size of John Cullen's stick. Remember how short his were. He says you're much stronger on your stick when you have a shorter one. And he has a tendency, he said, when it was longer, he'd get the puck lost at his feet all the time. And he wants to be able to make plays along the boards with a shorter stick, and he likes that. So that's why he uses a short stick.
Tocchet and Dirk Graham now, John, pretty good also. And the game getting a little testy. Face off right side of the Chicago end. Francis against Brent Sutter. They kick at that puck. Brent Sutter worked it free as he kicked to the head back to center. Mario Lemieux gets the puck on to Larry Murphy. Back to Lemieux in the Penguins end. Sutter's after him. He cut him out of the action and giving the puck to Murphy. Now to Steven, who rambles up to the Chicago end. Stevens has the only goal in the game. The Penguins lead 1-0 here in the second period. Tocchet trying to find Stevens. It's loose. Stevens comes in. He shoots it. A good save by Belfour off his right pad. Now controlled by Dirk Graham, and he slides it all the way up the alley to the Penguin net. A minute 22. The Penguins have a much higher intensity right here on this power play than they had on the last one. And here's Murphy coming through traffic, got around Noonan, shoots it in, and Belfour does not play the puck. Rod Buskus will go over. Remember, Chelios is in the sin bin, serving that penalty. Ronnie Francis, so they lose their premier defenseman back there on that penalty killing unit. Noonan forcing Francis into the Penguins end, and Noonan falls down and play goes on. Larry Murphy had the puck, but Larmer's all over the ice. Boy, he is so tough, Steve Larmer. Lead pass to Lemieux into the Chicago end, comes down, a slip shot and a save made by Belfour, and it's off to the right point. Murphy nicely holds it in. Around behind the net to Stevens of the Penguins. His pass out, but Larmer's there one more time. Larmer's earned a star just from penalty killing for the Hawks here tonight. Lead pass Stevens going to Jaromir Jagr. Backdoor pass to Francis, and the Hawks read that well. They dump it back to the Penguin line. Stanton trying to find Lemieux off his stick. 25 seconds remaining in the Penguin power play with Chelios off. Kuchera behind the net, lost it to Jagr, but they can't move it around in the net. Stanton gets the puck over to Mario Lemieux. Left point, here's Ulf Samuelsson. Slap shot coming up, just missed off the glove of Belfour. Stanton back to Lemieux, now to Stanton again, right point. Stanton to the Penguins, on to Mario Lemieux, pressured heavily. And the Hawks working up off the linesman and onto center ice. Actually, it went into the Hawks bench, and they stopped the play there. With 3 seconds left in the Chelios penalty. Well, one thing Chicago has done tonight is keep the Penguins off the board on the power play opportunities. And what chance they have in this game, that's a big part of it. And they're down 1-0 as the Penguins lead by just a slim 1-goal lead.
Mario Lemieux took a slap shot that was a cannon on Eddie Belfour, and it looked like he took it up high on the chest. when you go down to your knees as much as Belfour does and let that puck hit your body, you're going to have some bruises on it, especially when you're facing shots like the one Lemieux just took. That was a bullet.
Penguins have had a lot more chances here in the second period than they had in the first against Eddie Belfour. But they've not been able to beat him, and the Hawks so far have not been able to ring the bell against Tom Barrasso. Well, the Hawks are 0 for 4 in the power play, and the Penguins will be 0 for 3 here momentarily. And Trottier, Yager, and Loney. Stevens has the only score of the game. That came in the first period. Ulf Samuelsson of the Penguins. The Hawks are back to equal strength. Chelios got it to Yager down the left wing of the Chicago end. Makes a move on Steve Smith. Take it to the near corner, and he's double teamed and crunched. And the Hawks go back the other way as Loney steps into Chelios, and Chelios puts it up a bouncing puck into the Penguin zone. Ulf Samuelsson finding Troy Loney, and now a collision between Larmer and Barrasso. Back in the Penguin net, and the net's off the moorings. We'll be back. Pittsburgh 1, Chicago 0 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Steve Larmer appeared to accidentally on purpose run into Barrasso a moment ago as he came flying through that goal mouth and put his hip right into Barrasso and knocked him into the net. Paul Stanton had a lot to say to Larmer after that. He knew what he was trying to do. Yager got hit by 2 Hawks a moment ago as he tried to reverse the play back up the boards.
Well, Jocelyn Lemieux out now with Gray Gilbert and Robbie Brown. Brown will be the center iceman here against Trottier. Face off in the right wing circle of the Penguin zone. 1-0 Pittsburgh, second period. Robbie Brown battling for possession. The Penguins come away with it, and Ulf Samuelsson sneaking up the center. Trottier pressured by Rod Busk as it comes free to Loney down the left wing and offside against the Penguins. As Ulf Samuelsson and Robbie Brown collide at center.
Troy Loney has played extremely well for the Penguins in these playoffs. And I said, have you ever played better, Troy? And he said, well, answer this. Have you ever seen me play more? And that's usually the way it works. Players will all tell you that the more ice time they get, the better they're going to play. Well, there are some guys, though, I'm sure, given more responsibility, don't handle it as well. And maybe that's where you find out the difference between a guy who can really play and somebody who can't. But Troy Loney is a guy who responds to responsibility.
He's been very steady, and here's Robbie Brown putting the puck between the circles. And Barrasso gets it, the Penguin goaltender, winding around in the corner. Shot back behind the net, and Pack of Pittsburgh pressured on the play, lost the puck now to Jocelyn Lemieux. Feed it around the goal, and Pack recovers nicely to get it ahead back to center. And the Hawks take command of it one more time, and Brian Marchment, the Hawk defenseman, slides it back behind the Penguin goal. The Penguins are having to go back and handle the puck a lot. Marchment, though, couldn't get it. There's Trottier and Yager's going out. Belfour sees him coming and plays it away. Back to center. Belfour got knocked down by Trottier, but nobody there for the Penguins to pick up the loose puck. They had an open net to work with. You know, Belfour came scrambling out.
We've seen him do that before. In a game in Winnipeg earlier this year, he came out and he fell down and he slid all the way out past the blue line.
Puck sent deep by Chicago to the Penguins in, and we get an icing call here against the Blackhawks with 5 minutes and 37 seconds left in the second period. And Pittsburgh leading 1-0. Game 4 of this playoff series, by the way, will be played on Monday night here in Chicago. And our broadcast time, both on our Penguin radio and television network, will begin at 8:30. And it'll be right here on KDKA TV2 and, of course, on our Penguin radio network.
We'll rarely see Tom Barrasso way out of the net like that, although he does come out to play the puck at times. Barrasso has that ability to really jump out of the net and make those plays around the net quickly and move them, and with the stick able to actually bait a player to come towards him and then just kind of dump it over the guy's stick off the boards behind him to a teammate. Belfour twice came way out of the net to play the puck there, way out towards the blue line and then back into the corner.
Right in the draw, Lemieux shot it wide of the cage. And the Hawks have to go back behind their own net. And steer it up to Roenick. Roenick delivers it to Larmer. Now to Chelios at center circle. There's Chelios banging right behind the Penguin goal. And Barrasso again moving that puck well. The Penguins get it in the corner. Can they clear? Murphy tried to do it, couldn't do it. Now Larmer has it. He shoots it, was partially deflected, and Barrasso just reaches out like he's picking tomatoes and grabs it up off the ice and holds on. Let's see, I'll take this one today, and I'll have that one.
We talked earlier about the man who was helping Eddie Belfour. That's the man right there, Vladislav Tretiak. Mike Keenan said that they were planning on bringing him in anyway in June for the draft. I'm sure that he's got a pretty good book on a lot of those Russian hockey players. And they said they just decided to bring him in a few days early so that he could help out the goaltenders, particularly Eddie Belfour today in the morning skate. Keenan also the general manager of the Hawks, not just the coach. Done a great job this year. Made about 11 moves that bolstered his team, brought in some experience for this situation.
Left point, Kuchera comes down and he slams one, and that missed the target. Comes off the boards and around all the way to Chicago territory. Belfour will leave it for Igor Kravchuk. He wants to be called Gary, so we'll let Gary feed it ahead now to Brent Sutter, and he'll slam it to the Penguins in. Ulf Samuelsson just poked it out of danger. All the way back to Chicago territory. Kravchuk to touch it. And icing called against Pittsburgh. 4:46 left in the second period. Pittsburgh 1, Chicago 0 on the Penguins Hockey Network. With Mr. Steigerwald. This is Mike Lang at the stadium in Chicago. Well, the weather is pretty much like I guess it was in Pittsburgh. A little rainy and damp and drizzly today. Hard to believe we're getting around the 1st of June. The high today was 56, but they get some winds here, 15, 20 miles an hour, and it is a little cooler than 56. And this face-off controlled by the Penguins out of the Pittsburgh zone, and Lemieux on right wing to Bork. Drop it back to Lemieux in front, and the Pens are going to be called on an offside play as they entered the Chicago zone.
I think Trottier might have been ahead of the play on the left side because it appeared as though Lemieux and Bork were onside.
Looked to be.
Trottier out there to take the draw, successfully managed to pull that off, and the Penguins then were offside going the other way, so Trottier will sit down, and now they'll make some changes here.
Well, the Chicago Bulls winning their playoff series against Cleveland, and they'll be in the finals against Portland, so this building's going to be pretty active. The Bulls will be here on Wednesday. Of course, the Penguins play on Monday, and they, if a game number 5 is necessary at the Civic Arena, it will be played on Wednesday night.
You see coaches now go with tandems, Mike, and they have a tandem pretty much of Sutter and Graham out here. And then on the left wing, Mike Keenan will make the change on that line. And right now he's got Robbie Brown out there against Sean McEachern on the left side.
McEachern and Brown whacking one another, and now Collins comes over and separates those two. Well, there isn't much question that McEachern has an advantage in speed on Robbie Brown here on this matchup.
Brown putting the stick between the legs of McEachern. Never looks at him either. That's one of the things Robbie Brown does that really irritates players. He used to do it all the time when he was with the Penguins. He'd come in and just push that glove into guys' faces and never look at him. He just always look away. And he really gets under your skin. You've got to be careful not to retaliate against a guy like Robbie Brown. And Ulf Samuelsson and Brown got involved a couple of times in game 1. Brown ended up taking a penalty. And Ulfie whacked him with a stick and probably should have gotten one too, but he got away with it.
Well, somebody's given Robbie the what for from the bench, and I'm sure he's returning that.
Well, Brown had a groin pull, Mike, and he was limping around Chicago Stadium today, but it was almost as if he was putting it on a little bit for you just to make you think he was really a serious problem, and here he is out here playing with it, so makes you wonder.
Lemieux against Brent Sutter, and Sutter, times he can make those face-off wins look so easy. I mean, against some tough people too. He just reaches in and snaps it back like it's all his. They never had anybody else in there. Near wing of the Chicago end. It comes off to Lemieux. Drop it back left point to Gordy Roberts. Try to fire it down to Lemieux, and it's cut off by Chelios on the Hawks counterattack. Brent Sutter of Chicago going to the Penguins end down the left side against Larry Murphy, and Murphy will take him wide. Penguin defense has done a good job tonight of taking those forwards wide, and they carry the puck up. And Brent Sutter directs it behind the net. Roberts looks over. He's got to hurry here. He's got 2 Hawks on his backside. And he gets it to Stevens, who will bounce it off the sideboards and down to Chicago territory.
Good work by Stevens to go out with Chelios there.
Here's Lemieux now with the puck, going to the Chicago right wing boards. But Roenick intercepts. And Roenick of Chicago looks for a breaking Robbie Brown. Brown on to Dirk Graham. Slide his way into the Penguins end. Giving the puck to Rob Brown. Brown shoots it. Was deflected. And Roenick has it. In the near corner, got around Roberts. Look out, he's coming for the net. He's knocked down. Play continues. Lemieux has the puck, and he clears it, but not out. Chelios shoots it. Off the body of Stevens. Now the Pens have it. Lemieux with a lead pass to Tocchet. Behind the defense, Marchment. Here's Tocchet in on goal. His backhander. He's stopped by Belfour, who got the stick out to make the save on Rick Tocchet. Now the Hawks going the other way, and here's Larmer to the Penguins end, coming down the slot. Left side, shooting, and it's off the pad of goaltender Barrasso. Roenick has it back in the slot. It's off Larmer's play. Marchment fires one, and he can't find the net. Roenick again, throw it in front, and Goulet was knocked down by Pack. Here's Jágr after the puck, and he has it around Marchment. Marchment trying to hook him and slow him down, but Brian Trottier takes command of the biscuit, going to the Chicago end. Shoots one right on him. Belfour the save, and Jágr can't put it in on the rebound. Stevens will try. Belfour's down. He doesn't have a stick. Jágr looking around. Takes it back behind the net. Belfour got that blade back. Now Jágr off the far corner. Beats two Hawks. Goes out to Ulf Samuelsson. Will he shoot it? He lets it go, and it's stopped by Belfour. Where is it? It's under his pads. He doesn't know where it is. Eddie Belfour stopping that shot by Ulf Samuelsson. Is it in his pads or up in the stands? It's underneath his right pad. He didn't know where it was. Some tremendous action end to end by both clubs.
And Jágr setting up Ulf Samuelsson way out of the left point. He took a hard shot that Belfour had to do everything to stop. Lemieux with a quick pass to Tocchet. He spotted him in a hurry and got it out to him at the red line. Tocchet went in, tried to deke Belfour, and he never really got a good shot off on goal. He took the shot. He let the puck do the work. It got past the stick of Belfour, but when he finally took the shot, it was too far past the stick and too far past the net, and he ended up shooting it wide of the goal. Then back came Larmer with an opportunity. His shot appeared to hit Goulet as he was going to the net. And back the play went the other way, and Trottier with good speed took a shot. Belfour stopped it. The rebound flopped onto his right. He was able to get it with a glove and hang on to it for just a second. I think it ended up getting away from him.
Paul Stan was telling me today as we came over early that Trottier, he said, I can't believe how accurate he is and how he shoots the puck. He said, still. He was amazed. He's amazed at Trottier, although he couldn't get it by Belfour, and that was a big blast there. Did Stevens get a stick on that? Going in, but Belfour just did not know where it was.
You saw Jágr, Mike, when he was behind the net. He had Chelios on him, and then Marchment came back. A lot of times teams will put two players on him, let a second guy come in because they know he likes to hang on to the puck, and he still was able to beat two Hawks on the backboards and move that puck out to Samuelsson.
Robbie Brown wristed up, but not out. Shel Samuelsson holds it in behind the net. And here's Robbie Brown up in Francis. Coming to the near boards. And the Hawks Kravchuk now sneaking up the center to Mike Hudson, moving to the Penguins line. And Bork stopped that play. McEachran looking for it with that speed. Got around one man. McEachran coming down. He's challenged by Kravchuk. Still centers it right in front and nobody there. But a pretty pass by McEachran. He had Belfour beaten on the play, but the Pens had nobody in front. And Mike Hudson of Chicago. Shoulder by McEachran as it's dropped back in behind the Pittsburgh goal. Pack will get the puck. Work it off the boards. McEachran hustles in. Kuchera pinched him, but they couldn't come up with it. And the Penguins again left it back to center. And they'll change now on the fly. We have 1:58 left here in the second period. And the Penguins leading Chicago 1-0. In game number 3, they lead the series to the Penguins 2-0. And battling for the Stanley Cup. And now the Hawks are guilty of icing here. Well, you must win 4 of the 7. That's the name of the game to win the last series. Both these clubs have won 3 series prior to this.
Sean McEachran, Mike, with that tremendous speed that he has, able to beat Noonan in the neutral zone and then get a good step on Kravchuk and able to protect that puck on the off wing. He was listed as a center iceman at first. Then we thought he'd play left wing for the Pens, and he may be more effective on the right side than anywhere because of his ability to protect the puck just like that. Look at that, using the left skate, moving into the stick, and then one-handing it in front. Bork did not know that he was going to be able to get that through, or Bork might have cut over to the left where he could get that puck and put it into an open net.
Well, effectiveness comes too because he'll be, if he has that speed and can do it, he can beat those defensemen wide on the play, going wide with the speed.
And then use the strength too. He's got good strength.
Lemieux, Stevens, Tocchet settle in now, and the Hawks in against Brent Sutter. And another face-off win for Brent Sutter. He has just dominated when he's been on the ice in face-offs tonight. Pittsburgh leading 1-0, and Dirk Graham bangs that one back behind the Penguin goal. Barrasso, the Penguin goaltender, off to Roberts, and around the right wing, and the Penguins hurried along. Lemieux looks for the puck. It's bouncing. He'll carry it up to the Chicago zone. Stopped down the near side. Looking. Shoot it towards the net. Belfour juggled that, but he caught it and held on. And the face-off will take place in Chicago ice.
When you use your knees, your pads, as much as Belfour does, you're going to have situations where that puck bounces away from you a lot. It allows that puck to hit him, and sometimes the law of nature, physics, works against him. Bounced right up and hit him in the face, and then he was able to get his glove out and cover it up.
this series to date, and I'll tell you why this might be such an important period for the Hawks. And of course, you know, they're going to be at home, but they have not scored a goal in the third period in this series as of yet. And Dirk Graham bangs it away, and the Penguins have been the stronger team in the third period of play in both games so far. Chelios right side shoots it. It was deflected. Mateau goes after it for Chicago. Turn it around. Brent Sutter deflected it off his stick and onto the Chicago line. And Dirk Graham on the Blackhawks finding Brent Sutter. Sutter hops up to the Penguins end. Murphy cuts him off. The Penguins have done a good job of keeping those people wide. Tonight, Smith at the left point. Look out here. Glides over now. Shooting. Stopped by Barrasso. The rebound right to Lemieux. And he'll snap it back to center. Tom Barrasso just stood tall.
He literally stood up on that shot by Smith and just let it hit him.
And Goulet from the left side of the Chicago end. Knocked off his skates. Ronnie Francis bump, but Lemieux or Tocchet reaches in. Shoot it towards the net. Belfour takes the puck and he winds it around with a good pass on to Chris Chelios. Chelios up to Roenick, and Roenick trying to take it. Roenick goes into the Penguins end behind the net. Stan cut him off. Stan works it to the far side, but the Hawks have it. Here's shot by Larmer, and that missed the net. 11 seconds to go in the period. Chelios behind the goal. Look out. Goulet tried to center, but he hit the side of the back of the goal. Bork races over, gets the loose puck. And on to Francis with 2 seconds left. The period's going to end. McEachran driving down the right side as the siren sounds again. And we've played 2 periods here in Chicago. And the Penguins still have a 1-0 lead. We'll be back on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Spring in Pittsburgh. For the last 13 years, it has brought us together. And while we aren't physically together this year, we are most certainly all together. We are used to seeing gold towels, feeling an overtime goal, and cheering for heroes based on their surname. We are seeing that the human spirit cannot be broken, feeling the warmth of people helping those in need, and cheering for heroes based on their profession. So, while there may not be hockey this spring, we are all engaged with the playoff intensity to win this battle. We are in this together.
And here we go, period number 3. The Penguins lead 1-0 here in Chicago. And Mateau off the left side of the Penguins end. Moves in, but Tocchet takes it away from him. And Rick Tocchet slides it away to the left wing to Kevin Stevens. Trying to get up into the Chicago zone. He can't do it. And Gordy Roberts forces the Penguins into the ice surface. Stumbles a bit with that puck. It goes right in on Barrasso, and he kicked it away. Now off the far wing. Dirk Graham's shot. Fanned on it. Dirk Graham's had a tough time tonight getting shots off. He has had a lot of fans where he's had it go off the heel of his stick, not be able to control it. Now Dirk again carries the mail onto center ice, and he bangs it away to the Penguin zone, and the Hawks go to a line change. Tocchet.
Watch when the Hawks dump the puck in, Mike. They go for the corners, and that puck comes off the hash marks or out towards the hash marks in the circle. And the Penguins defense has done a great job of positioning themselves in just the right spot to take those bounces off the boards when the Hawks dump it in.
Right back in behind the Penguin goal, and they dig for it. Larry Murphy comes up with it, push it up the sideboards to McEachran, who was hit heavily by Francis Kuchera, but the Penguins do take it. And Francis spins it to Wolf Samuelsson, the Penguin defenseman. Drops it right back into Chicago territory, and Eddie Belfour winds it around near corner. McEachran caught that. He poked it in behind the goal, but the Hawks have it. Now they force it back in front of the net, and Robbie Brown of Chicago goes right wing to Brian Noonan. Noonan's been a streak goal scorer in his career. He had a couple against Edmonton before coming into this series, but he's been held without a goal so far against the Penguins in 2+ games. Wolf Samuelsson stepping into Michel Goulet. Larmer centers in front of Roenick, and his quick shot stopped by Barrasso. Roenick was decked by Ronnie Francis on that play too, and he's holding his right hand. He may have hurt his hand again. Back it goes into Chicago ice, and Roenick is in pain right now with that right hand. You can see it. He's just favoring it, Paul, and he's going to go off the ice. He can't go on. He tried to run into Loney as he came off the ice. Loney sidestepped that check, and right now Roenick's frustrated because it appeared he got hurt on that play trying to score against Barrasso. Larmer on the move, going to the Penguins end, and it's Brent Sutter. Turned around by Jimmy Pack just inside the Penguin line. Loney will dig for it. The Penguins work it free, and Pack takes a check to make the play, and he dumps it on the center, and Yager's in against Steve Smith. Yager gets his body into position now, trying to move away from Smith, and he does. Throw it back in behind the goal to Loney. Comes around from behind, turns it in. He's stopped by Belfour as he went around on the backhand attempt. Lemieux and Yager now. Over to the left point it goes to Jimmy Pack. Shoot it. Trickles in and just wide. Loney was trying to tie up Peluso. Here's Yager now in the near corner one more time. Giving the puck to Troy Loney. Loney pressured by Peluso. Big rugged forward. Now knocked down from behind is Yager by Steve Smith. Play continues. Loney goes right in front. It rolls up his stick, and Belfour able to smother that. Well, Yager decked by Smith, and play goes on, and we'll have a face-off in Chicago territory. 1-0 Pittsburgh here in the third on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Jeremy Roenick has ligament damage in that right hand. He does not have a broken thumb. I don't know how you can suffer strained ligaments from a slash. I really don't. I mean, I would think you'd have a break, not from a blow to the hand. I could see how a slash could aggravate it and make it feel worse, but I don't see how you could actually suffer strained ligaments from a slash on the hand.
Well, a ligament is to pull the ligaments before you get a break. So I mean, it's certainly within possibility. Yeah, if you've ever pulled ligaments in your ankle,
if you have a bruise, that's one thing, Mike. But it sounds to me like he did something to twist his hand or do something like that to strain the ligaments in his hand.
And back right in behind the Penguin goal. Here is Gordy Roberts. Dumping it ahead of Mario Lemieux. Lemieux finds Larry Murphy with a little room to work with at the Chicago line. Looks back on the left wing. Lemieux darts in. Graham trying to line him up. Now the Hawks take a piece of him. Marchment got a check into Lemieux right behind the net. Mario's got the puck, though. He looks out in front. He goes over to Roberts. Roberts comes in with a slip shot. Blocked by Dirk Graham, who gave his body up. And on to center ice where Larry Murphy directs it up into the Chicago zone.
These players are too good in this league. You just can't crank up a shot like that and figure you're going to get it through.
Especially in the playoffs, it's awfully difficult because they're going to give their body up on every occasion, you would think. Maybe the regular season they might sidestep and walk away a little bit and let you have that lane, but not the case here. 1-0 game, and Stanton comes down. He'll wrist one off Belfour's blocking glove. Igor Kravchuk takes command of the puck. The only goal of this hockey game came in the first period if he joined us late. It was accredited to Kevin Stevens and the Hawks guilty of icing. And we'll be back. 1-0 Pittsburgh in the third. 16:08 left on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Mike Keenan has a master's degree in education from the University of Toronto. He also attended St. Lawrence University. He was the captain of their hockey team. And went on and coached the University of Toronto to the Canadian National College Championship. He's been successful everywhere he has been. And he's pretty much been the same kind of coach everywhere he's been.
Ray Gilbert on the center now. Spin it inside the Penguin line, and Samuelson and Stanton team up to clear it away. McEachran to the Penguins. Chasing after the puck in the Chicago zone, but František Kuchera rolls it ahead to Robbie Brown. Brown looking for Brian Noonan, but intercepted right at center by Bourque, and he had his skates pulled out from under him by Brian Noonan. Play goes on to the Chicago end. McEachran pressured by Kravchuk, and Robbie Brown's in trying to find the puck, and he will. Now to Gray Gilbert of Chicago. On right wing to Noonan. Noonan runs into Bourque, and the puck into the Penguin net area. Shell Samuelson winding around, and out of the zone it goes again. The Penguins make a quick line change here. And Kravchuk back to take possession of the pass of the puck, and he goes to Robbie Brown. That's off his stick. This might be an icing call if the Penguins get there first. I don't think they reach in. Who's got it? Now the Pens have it, and they rule no icing because Goulet apparently touched the puck. Now Yager on a four-man rush to the Chicago end. Left side to Trottier. Drop it back to Shell Samuelson. Here he comes. His shot right on. And Belfour will make the save on Shell Samuelson.
And again, Belfour allowing that shot to hit him up high, and he got his hand up to pin that puck against his chest there.
And Troy Loney doing an excellent job again of running interference towards that net. You may not see it on the TV side, but Loney went in there, and they were whacking away at him after. As Loney causes a lot of problems taking people away from that goal. There you see him right there with Roenick back on the ice, and he's going to come off now. Roenick will.
Eddie Belfour reminds me at times of Tony Esposito, who was the greatest Hawk goaltender of all time. Several Hawk goaltenders have won the Vezina Trophy in the history of this organization. Tony Esposito had 15 shutouts back in the 69-70 season, and he used to allow shots to hit him in the chest all the time. And before games, he put that hot liniment all over his body because he knew he was going to take a beating from the puck the whole night long.
right point of the Chicago zone. It bounces by Stanton onto the neutral ice area. Stanton recovers to get it. He gave it away to Chelios. And Chelios with a big long slap shot. Barrasso got the stick down to make the save, but the Hawks had somebody offside when Chelios shot it across the blue line. The Hawks, I can see a little frustration in their faces right now. Steve Smith and Michel Goulet just looking at them. They've not been able to score against the Penguins here tonight.
Brent Sutter has been a number 2 center wherever he's been. When he was with the Islanders and when they were winning cups, he was behind Brian Trottier. And Trottier kind of gave way to Pat LaFontaine as a top center, and Sutter remained the number 2 center. He's just a perfect guy for that role, and the Hawks knew that they needed to get a guy to fill that role, and he does for them what Ronnie Francis does for the Penguins, with Roenick being the top center iceman on this club.
Maybe forgive me. Who was the player? I know who it was. Was it Kelly Kissio that they tried to acquire from San Jose?
Yes, they did.
Well, they did not make the wire, the waiver thing.
That's right.
Yeah. And they thought that was an added part of the puzzle that they wanted to solve. And he was actually, they announced it, and then he was told to return back to San Jose. I think they could use him, boy. He would have been a big plus for them in this playoff series. Yager with the Penguins with Trottier and Loney getting more ice time right now, and Trottier bangs it away to the Chicago zone. Steve Smith behind the net, finding an open man in Roenick, and Roenick goes rink wide with a pass over to Michel Goulet. Goulet in against Yager, and Yager will knock him down. Comes around to the near corner. Ulf Samuelsson hit from behind by Larmer, and Goulet now digging for the puck. They battle on. The Penguins just force it back to center. This is where the Penguins were so effective in Game 2 against the Blackhawks at home, protecting a 3-1 lead, and they ended up winning the game. The Hawks, as I mentioned to you late in this second period, have not scored a third period goal against the Penguins this playoff series. 1-0 Pittsburgh, 14:03 left, and we'll be back on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Michel Goulet has gotten hurt somehow. He's shaken up on the bench right now in some pain, sitting next to Steve Larmer. Larmer chewing away on that gum with no teeth. Grandpa.
John McEachran coming back on board here with Ron Francis and Phil Bourque for the Penguins against the Jocelyn Lemieux line with Robbie Brown and Brian Noonan. And again, Mike Keenan, as we have seen at times with Scotty Bowman, really changing his troops around. Jocelyn Lemieux taken to the Penguin zone, however. Put it behind the net. Ronnie Francis. They carry him up the boards off Roberts' body. Gordy now falls down on top of it, and we'll get the face off to the right of the Pittsburgh net.
Murphy and Roberts both fell down on that shift.
Gordy Roberts, who will be 35 years old in October, out of Detroit, Michigan, the Penguin defenseman. Sorry, there's Jocelyn Lemieux.
Jocelyn Lemieux, Mike, used to play with Vincent Damphousse and a guy named Michel Mongeau, who plays in the St. Louis Blues organization as a very high-scoring player, a center iceman, I believe. He is a center iceman in the St. Louis Blues organization. In the minors, he does a great job of scoring. He hasn't been able to do it in the NHL level, but Jocelyn Lemieux scored over 50 goals his last year of junior in Laval, the same town where Mario Lemieux played his junior hockey. But he has not been able to score at all in this league. And now you look back, you find out who his line mates were. You get a little bit of an understanding of why he scored so many goals in a very high-scoring league. He was playing with two great offensive players, Damphousse and Mongeau, in junior hockey.
You know, we were a high-powered offensive team for sure, but I think we learned in the first round when we played another pretty good team in Washington that you know, we had to tighten up, and I think that's the memory I have of our team, is that you know, we didn't have as good a regular season as we did the year before, with a lot of different problems, but I thought defensively, you know, a team like ours, we had the puck a lot, but even in that game, you know, they were coming pretty good, and I thought our goaltending, you know, was second to none.
Take another one.
Scotty Bowman was yelling at Kevin Stevens, trying to get his attention about something.
Mario Lemieux shoots it away to the Chicago net now from center ice, and Murphy comes off. The Penguins put Ulf Samuelsson and Stanton on, and the puck lifted back into the Chicago near corner. They've got Roenick out here with Dirk Graham now working the left wing, and on the right side, Steve Larmer. I saw Keenan talking to Graham as he came off on that last shift, and he probably told him you're going to play left wing on that line. Lemieux bursting back with the Chicago in. Comes down that right side, little drop pass for Tocchet. Shoot it towards the net. That's stopped by Belfour. Stevens of the Penguins centers it. It comes over to Lemieux between the circles. Turning, looking, shooting right on him. Belfour juggles that down low and holds it. And the Chicago goaltender able to snap it up. And Stevens in front of that net, causing problems for Eddie Belfour and Chris Chelios. I'll tell you, as good as Chelios is, when you have to keep moving guys like Stevens and Tocchet, I mean, they're coming off the ice now, and Lemieux, there he goes, sits down on the bench. I wonder if he's hurt. He looks to be in some pain, doesn't he?
I think his back's bothering him. I said that earlier in the game, and I'll stand by that. But his back bothers him all the time. It's just a matter of degree. He turned and just whipped that puck to the net. Belfour able to see it.
He has not been as fluid tonight as he has been.
He has not.
Any question about that? He hasn't had that real jump in his legs and the ability to just kind of carry the play. And Shell Samuelson now right side. Fire deflected, hit the post to the right of Belfour. As it was deflected and caught the pipe. Now behind the net, Troy Loney of the Penguins centers it. Younger trying to poke it in, but he can't do it. The Hawks trying to get the puck out, and they can't make that. Yes, they did. Apparently it came out across the blue line and tapped back in, and we get the offside call against the Penguins. That was a very close play there. The Penguins almost scored their second goal. Belfour talking to the referee, Don Koharski. Might have been asking, was that a high stick on the puck that knocked it up? I don't know.
Belfour is such a competitor, Mike. You know, Keenan challenged him after game one, saying he did not play well. He knows he let the team down, saying things like that. And Keenan, with his musical goaltender routine that he's played over the last couple of years, pulling guys out, putting them back in. Every time he takes Belfour out, he says, I want back in there. They're not going to get anything by me. He always responds in a positive way. So Keenan knows he can say things like he said after game one, and it's not going to really hurt Eddie Belfour. In fact, it might bring some special quality out of him. And that's what you don't know when you hear the coach Keenan saying negative things about players, when you hear everybody chastising Mike Keenan for saying it.
Here's the puck back into the Penguins in, and Stanton flip it around off Samuelson, who has been so solid for the Penguins in this playoff year. And it's drilled the length of the ice, and the Hawks have to go back and get it. Mike Peluso working on the left wing down here with Jeremy Roenick. Roenick got around Loney, comes up. Samuelson got a piece of him and knocked him down. Now Peluso puts a big check in on Stanton, sends him flying back in the Penguin zone.
Samuelson doing to Roenick what he's done to so many guys on that right side when they try to come down against him.
Kravchuk delivers it back into Penguin ice, and it'll be Gordy Roberts knocking Lemieux around. Pittsburgh's coming up with it. They got two Hawks trapped back, and the Penguins might have a chance here if they can hurry. Ron Francis going to the Chicago line. Kravchuk trying to stand him up, put it in front for Bourque. His deflection stopped by Belfour. McEachran back behind the net. McEachran turned around. Kuchera took him off the puck nicely. It was a good play by Kuchera and Robbie Brown. First team back for the Chicago Blackhawks. Shoots it in off the stick of Barrasso. 11:24 left here in the third. Noonan gets the puck. Noonan trying to center. He goes back in behind the net instead to Robbie Brown. Brown put it in front. Justin Lemieux can't get there, and Phil Bourque dives out to block it and knock it away back to the Chicago end.
That all play started because Robbie Brown made a good dump into the Penguins on a soft dump to the corner where Barrasso couldn't handle it, and they got a good scoring opportunity out of it.
Roberts a little late getting the puck to Lemieux, who wanted it, but intercepted now by the Hawks, and they deal it right back to the Penguin goal. Barrasso's going to slam it up the boards, but not out of the zone. Stefan Matteau. Tocchet's in working those boards against Matteau. Matteau played it off Murphy's body right to Mario Lemieux, and Lemieux guns it back to center to Rick Tocchet. He and Stevens approach the Chicago blue line. They lose the puck. Back and forth it goes. It goes to Tocchet. Now on to Stevens' left wing for the Chicago end. He shoots it back over to the right wing side. Tocchet went in, but he's too well covered by Steve Smith. And the Hawks go on the counterattack, and Brent Sutter leads the parade back to Chelios. To the Penguins in on the right side. Chelios shoot it towards the net, and Barrasso deflected that one wide of the goal. And here up the near side, the Penguins again spin it back the other way. The Hawks have been held without a shot for the first 10 minutes here in the third period. Steve Smith will look up. Check the clock for some reason, and now he shoots it into the Penguin far corner. Steve Larmer falls down. Yager looking for the puck. He can't get it. It's poked away. Comes over right side. Chelios shoot it. Comes back over to the left wing circle. Goulet with a turning shot. The Hawks first of the third period. 10 minutes in. And stopped by Barrasso. And now Pack will knock down one of the Hawks. That was Larmer. And an interference call against Jimmy Pack. Jimmy Pack upending Steve Larmer. And so Chicago has the power play here at 10:05 of the third. 1-0 Pittsburgh on the Penguins Hockey Network. Well,
we've seen the Penguins respond to situations like this throughout the playoffs. Now the Hawks with an opportunity on the power play. Jimmy Pack goes to the box. Steve Larmer, we're finding out, is very good at drawing penalties. And that was a questionable call there. He drew that one beautifully. That's the second time in this game he's been able to draw a penalty around the net. He did it to Stanton earlier. And now the Penguins have to kill off this. And Jimmy Pack only 6 penalty minutes now in the playoffs.
Mario Lemieux tries to get that of danger, and he will. On to center. Ronnie Francis lost his helmet from that draw. And the Hawks have it, and Steve Smith will shoot it from center ice, trying to drive it to the corner, and it hit a stick and goes up into the seats here at the stadium in Chicago.
I look for Mario Lemieux to be dangerous here, shorthanded for the Penguins. Mike Keenan continues to just try that forechecking game, dump it in, go in, take the body, try to create chances.
Sometimes change things around. He's getting ready to make another change here in some way. In his power play unit now, Kravchuk along with Chelios, with Sutter, Larmer, and Roenick up front. And Lemieux has a new stick right now for the Penguins. They give us an attendance figure. They did not, but it's a sold-out game, believe me. Standing room only and then some. They probably could have sold 40,000 seats to this game tonight. I'm not kidding you.
I'm not sure how many people they allow in here, Mike, but in the old days, back when Bobby Hall was here, they used to put 20,000 people in this building. I don't know if they still do that. And they have fire laws now to prevent them from doing that.
Well, you saw the candles at the outset of the telecast, and those have been outlawed, and they had a few people with them. They used to all bring the candles and light them.
Ronnie Francis' strap is hanging down right now, and he's got to fix that. You can't have that dangling the way it is.
Remember, his helmet came off. They'll have to do some repair work right now. Steve Lattin, the Pens equipment manager.
That was a good delay by the Penguins to get some time here with their penalty killers. Now Daryl Sutter arguing about something. Maybe he's upset about that.
He's upset about the delay. That's why, because Lemieux has been given that extra time, and so is Francis. They don't want that momentum taken away. And Scotty Bowman stares over. He looked at Bowman. Keenan did just there, just over to say, you old wise guy, you. And here's Roenick now back into the Penguins end as the Hawks bring it in, working in the power play, and they can't get a shot off, and they force back to center, and Igor Kravchuk on to Chris Chelios. 1:35 to go in the Pack penalty. 9:29 left here in the third, and Ronnie Francis directs the puck back into the Chicago zone. 1-0 Pittsburgh here in the third period. 9:20 left in regulation. Chelios of Chicago up ahead to Roenick on the left wing, and Roenick trying to get in. Instead, he holds it now. Goes to Chelios right side. A slap shot, and Barrasso deflected that one away with the blocker. Over to the far corner. Lemieux with the Penguins in, digging for it. Can he come up with it? He reaches in, grabbed it, but he couldn't clear. Ulf Samuelsson blasted around the boards, and out it goes, and that'll take the heat out of a hot kitchen here in the third period. Belfour leaves the puck for Igor Kravchuk. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The Hawks now with 55 seconds left, and Bourque takes the puck and slams it right back into Chicago's far corner. Chelios of Chicago stepping up in the play, getting the puck over to Stepan Matteau, and he can't get into the Penguins in. The Penguins denying Chicago here. Some tremendous penalty killing of their own here against Chicago. Igor Kravchuk looks for room. Noonan on the right side. Got around one man. Beat a second. Stanton. He goes to the corner, and McEachran will catch him. Noonan goes behind the net, tried to center. It's on the meshing, and I think it's going to be brought outside. Noonan flipped it up, trying to make a pass, and unless it hit a Penguin player and carried him down that meshing, the faceoff would be brought back outside of the Penguin zone.
Mike Keenan just yelled to Jeremy Roenick, told him to go out on the ice, and he'll step on here on this power play. Daryl Sutter has allowed Mike Keenan to kind of back off a little bit in his intensity, if you can believe that, the way he's been in this playoff series. But Sutter is so intense himself that it has allowed Keenan to kind of fall back a little bit in that approach with the players.
Daryl said, I want to be the coach of the Blackhawks, and if I'm not, I'm going to look elsewhere. He wants to be the coach next year. So it's time for me to make a move. He coached at Indianapolis in the International League.
He's listed as associate coach right now, not assistant coach.
And Roenick steps on board here with Larmer and Noonan. They drop the puck. The Hawks have it. Here's Chelios looking to make a play. Goes over, stuffing it to Robbie Brown. A slap shot stopped by Barrasso. Rebound. He stops that one on Noonan too. Lemieux trying to get the puck out. He can't do it. Robbie Brown over to the far side. And now Chelios had it knocked aside by Ronnie Francis. Tremendous defensive play there by Ronnie Francis. The pass by Chelios, stopped by Lemieux, and the Hawks are down to 9 seconds left here in this penalty against the Penguins.
Mark those 2 saves down. That was a great save that Barrasso made on the rebound there.
Roenick again steps up to center ice to Chelios. And Pack has come on. The Penguins have killed it. And Robbie Brown of the Hawks settles in. He gave it away to Jimmy Pack. Man open right wing Trottier. He slipped it right back to the Chicago's player Chelios. Now the right wing to Noonan. Falling down was Roberts. Noonan goes to the net. His shot. Barrasso stopped him from 5 feet away. Yager clears it off the wood, but not out. And the puck bouncing free to center ice. Barrasso coming up with a key save there as Gordy Roberts fell down. Roenick on to Graham. Instead of Noonan takes the puck now. Right at the right point of the Penguins in. Poke it in behind the net. Roberts has it defensively for Pittsburgh. His pass off Noonan's stick. But the Penguins gather it in 7:17 remaining. 3-on-2 develops. Penguins with the Chicago in. Murphy looks, pulls the trigger, and it's gloved by Belfour easily. And he has that puck, and the faceoff will be in Chicago ice. 1-0 Penguins here in the third on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Barrasso just sparkling in goal for the Penguins. Chris Chelios held on to that puck beautifully. Then he looked off and then moved it to Brown, who cranked one up, got the shot away. Barrasso made the save even with a man going down to block it, and then stopped Noonan on the rebound. He was in great position to get himself back over to play Noonan on the rebound opportunity. He's never looked better. An article in Sports Illustrated about him this week says that Tom Barrasso is the Penguins' saving grace. And boy, has he been that tonight.
Tocchet right wing circle against Chicago's Brett Sutter. The Penguins have it, and Tocchet put it right on the net. And Belfour made a good save on Rick Tocchet. Hawks step up to center. They can't get it going, though. They have to pull back to their own end. They give it away, and Mario Lemieux drives that one right back in behind the Chicago net. Under 7 minutes left in regulation. Pittsburgh 1, Chicago 0. The only goal in this game came in the first period. Kevin Stevens credited with it on a deflection on a shot by the left from the defenseman Jim Pack. And it got by Belfour. Chicago's Brian Noonan, or pardon me, Brett Sutter. Sneaking into Penguin territory behind the net. Barrasso got it over to Stanton and around the right side. Tocchet deflects of the head back to center red.
Well, the Penguins continue to make those plays on the boards, Mike. They're strong wingers that they have, be able to stop those defensemen from effectively pinching in and keeping the puck alive and forechecking.
The Hawks return to get it, and Bork steps into Steve Smith, and Steve Larmer of Chicago looking to get it to Roenick. Roenick has it, but his pass stopped neatly by Bork. Here's Larmer cutting around a man. Samuelson got a piece of him, knocked him down. Ronnie Francis, who has had a strong game tonight for the Penguins, but Chelios picks it up right point, a shot towards the net. Shell Samuelson blocked that with a shin, and here come the Penguins on the counterattack. McEachran with good speed to the Chicago end. Force it over to the far corner, and Chelios back with 6 minutes left now in regulation. First Chelios to center circle, drive it right to the Penguin net, and Barrasso says, I'll take it and hold on to it. Well, it's going to be tense right down to the very end here, it appears. So get yourself comfortable, get your towel out, wipe off the sweat. We'll be back on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Mike Keenan wants to see his forwards, Noonan and Jocelyn Lemieux, get in there, get on somebody, force a turnover, and let Robbie Brown see if he can't be the guy who comes up with that puck and puts it in the net.
The Chicago Blackhawks won 11 straight playoff games before entering this series against the Penguins. The Penguins have won the first 2. And the Penguins now have won 9 straight. And the record, of course, is 11, set by Chicago this playoff year, surpassing the old Boston Bruins mark of 10 in 1970. And the Penguins can tie that mark if they were to hold on and win here tonight. But it's not going to be an easy chore. Face off in the Penguin zone, and Brian Trottier comes up with it. Lead it up to Ronnie Francis. He'll drive it in. We've talked so much about the Penguin offensive players, but tonight the defensive play of a lot of people, including the forwards, has been absolutely superb. And Barrasso has stood tall in the Penguin net.
And I can't tell you how many times he's done what he did right there, and they talked before the game about trying to keep it away from him.
He's tough. And here are the Hawks, though. They have on the right side of the Penguins in. They're only down by 1. Marchman shoots it, deflected by Robbie Brown and offline. Now picked up on the near boards by Jaromir Jagr. Jagr moving the puck over to Troy Loney. Loney a drop pass, so that's not a good move there. And now Noonan goes the other way. Left side to Jocelyn Lemieux, and his shot way offline. Jagr will get the puck, and the Penguins get it over to Troy Loney. Loney with that drop pass, somebody may have called for it, but not a wise move in that situation here with a game 1-0 late in the third. Those little drop passes are not in the mode, the thing you'd want to do, and a two-line pass called here against the Hawks as they broke up ice.
And that's what happens in that shorter neutral zone. You see a man open, you want to get it to him, but the blue line comes up in a hurry on you. It was a two-line pass against the Chicago Blackhawks. Back in a moment, 1-0 Pittsburgh, 4:53 to go in regulation on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Chicago outshot Pittsburgh 13-6 in the first period. The Pens then outshot Chicago 8-6, and we're even now at 6 in this third. 8-6 in the second, Pittsburgh. And Chelios finding Steve Smith. And he'll lead it up to Greg Gilbert. Gilbert lost the puck to Rick Tocchet, and Tocchet just bounces it up into the Chicago zone. Belfour gives the puck to Chelios. And on left wing to Gilbert, and he will force it up now to the right wing corner of the Penguins end. Roberts back, and he plays it to the length of the ice all the way to the Chicago net. Belfour will touch it, and there is no icing on the play. Chelios finding no man. Gilbert has a little room now to the Penguins end, trying to back Murphy in. He goes in, throw it to the corner, but the Penguins are right there, and Kevin Stevens shoots it ahead. This will be back into the Chicago zone. We'll get another icing call against the Penguins. And we are now down to 4 minutes and 9 seconds left. Now, face-offs are important all the time in this game, but Brent Sutter, who has had pretty good control of it, now we'll match it up here against the Penguins, and I think Trottier will be the man called upon to do that chore for the Penguins in the Pittsburgh zone. Scotty Bowman's got an idea what he wants to do here, trying to protect the lead.
Well, when you ask Scotty Bowman about those great Montreal Canadiens teams and talk about the players that he really had a lot of respect for and the guys who he really thought were the most valuable to him, he always brings up Dryden first, the goaltender Ken Dryden. And if you look at the performance by Tom Barrasso here tonight, I imagine Scotty will have some nice things to say about the kid that he drafted out of Acton Boxborough High School at the age of 18 and put him right in the lineup with the Buffalo Sabres back in 1983.
They drop the biscuit. Who's going to get it? Trottier worked it over to Sean McEachran. So Trottier pays dividends there, and he comes slowly off down to the Penguin bench as Bourque replaces him. Francis, McEachran, and Bourque, the trio out for the Pens. Under 4 minutes left in regulation. 1-0 Pittsburgh, and the Hawks trying to gain possession and get the puck out of their own end. The Penguins send those checkers in, trying to slow them down. Here's Roenick, though, avoiding a check by Francis, going to the Penguins end. Roenick scoots in down the right side, and he is met by Bourque, but keeps on coming. Put it in front, and there's nobody there. Robbie Brown trying to come up with it. McEachran blows right by him, and he goes to Bourque. Onto the Chicago line, steps in now, goes back to center. Bourque, who can skate like the wind at times, gets it over to Shel Samuelson. And Shel Samuelson deal it up into the Chicago net area. Chelios will take it off the corner. 3:23 left in the third period. 1-0 Pittsburgh. And the pass right by Shel Samuelson deep into the Penguins in. Here's Barrasso unable to play the puck. Noonan has it. Noonan gets the puck in the far corner. Ryan Noonan trying to move the puck over to Mike Hudson. That's back to Noonan. Put it in front, and it's stopped by Barrasso one more time. Jágr falls down as he clears it ahead of the Chicago into the ice surface.
Good play by Jágr there, because he thought for a moment he wanted to carry that puck the way he's prone to do, but then he thought better of it and said, no, I'll just get it out here.
Penguins lead 1-0, and here come the Chicago Blackhawks again, racing back to the Penguins in. Mateau shoots one that'll miss the mark. Off the right wing boards, Noonan shoot it back towards the net, blocked by Lemieux of the Penguins. Now Mateau and Noonan jam it up in the corner. Lemieux gets the puck for the Pens and around the boards, and it comes out of the zone. Chicago has not pulled its goaltender here in this series so far. And I got to believe if it gets down to that point that Keenan has got to pull a goaltender and put the extra attacker on. He did not do it in game one. Here's a steal, though. Marchman, Penguins in, coming around one man. Shoots it towards it in, and deflects just wide of Barrasso. Oh, the Hawks almost tied it there. Now carrying the puck will be Jágr on to Stevens. Stevens is hit heavily by Marchman, but the puck through to the Chicago end. And what's the call going to be, Paul? I just missed it. I watched the play here. You know what the call is? Why the whistle sounded?
I think it's offside. I was looking at the Penguin bench.
Because you made a motion. I was trying to figure out what.
No, I was pointing to the Penguin bench. Marchman came off the Chicago bench and had a good chance as Lemieux failed to get the puck all the way out. He just kind of pushed it up the boards. Marchman jumped into the play, went through the goal mouth with it, and it just trickled wide of the far post on Barrasso. Jágr was the first man on the puck.
2 minutes and 12 seconds left in regulation. Ron Francis with the assignment right now for the Penguins, along with Phil Bourque and Rick Tocchet. Rolf Samuelson and Paul Stan discussing what they want to do with this puck here. Brent Sutter with Dirk Graham and Greg Gilbert. Oh, very close play there. No question about that.
It hit the skate of Roberts. It hit a stick, and then hit the skate of Roberts and deflected wide of the net.
Brett Sutter lost the draw, and the Penguins win two big faceoffs, one by Trottier, this one by Francis, to deal it up into the Chicago end. The Penguins have won big faceoffs when they've had to. Remember game one when they won it with only 13 seconds left. That was when Francis beat Sutter, and the Penguins ended up with a winning goal. Now drop back in behind the Chicago net. 1:53 left in regulation. Here is a pass ahead to Brent Sutter. Sutter coming up, and he bounces it up to the Penguins in, and Barrasso's going to come out of the net. He plays it around. Brent Sutter trying to hold on to it. He runs into Jimmy Pack. Battle for it behind the goal, and the big defenseman Shel Samuelson played at the far corner. Dirk Graham's got it. Back around behind the net, but Gray Gilbert could not handle it. Did not have a glove, and Tocchet has the puck. On to Phil Bourque. Bourque coming to the Chicago end, and he slams one into the zone. Tocchet's going to take it off the left wing boards with 1:28 to go here in the third period. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The Penguins leading the series 2-0, battling for the Stanley Cup and trying to make it 3 in a row. And the Hawks deal it to the Penguins in. Stevens whacked it up, but not out of the zone. Chelios right point, look out. Chelios moves around. Stevens put in the slot. Goulet, there's shot. A good save by Barrasso. And the rebound pulled in by Mario Lemieux. And around it goes on to center. The Hawks stuff it back in, and they're guilty of an offside play. We're down to 1:04, and Barrasso stopping Goulet from right in front. And we still have 64 seconds left in regulation.
Chelios made a good play on Stevens, who came out and challenged him, and he moved it to Goulet in front. He pushed that puck to the net. Barrasso stopped him. And then Lemieux right there with a big defensive play to clean it up. Kevin Stevens going out to challenge Chelios, and he just got a little bit out of position there. Chelios is pretty nifty back there at that point. He was able to dance around Kevin Stevens and make the play to Goulet in the slot.
Yeah, somebody's going to call a timeout now, and I think it'll be the Chicago Blackhawks. And apparently they want to get organized here as to what they want to do. Eddie Belfour coming to the bench. You've got to believe that, when you're down 2-0 that he's probably going to take a shot at pulling Belfour somewhere here. But the Penguins, as a team, have scored 6 empty net goals in the playoffs this year in 18 games. So they are the most dangerous team in that department. They can kill any rally you want to have in a hurry. You got to be, you're kind of tentative when you want to make that move. So the discussion goes on here as they gather around Mike Keenan. Actually talking more among themselves, it appeared to me.
Read Scotty Bowman's lips. He told Ronnie to go on and take the draw. He asked Mario if he was okay. And they'll drop the puck in the neutral zone.
Game number 4 of this series will be on Monday night. The Hawks did not have a shot for the first 10 minutes, but in the last 9 they've had 8 against the Penguins.
I would guess that Goulet will be the man who will jump on, Mike, when Belfour comes off.
Red Sutter against Francis, and the puck controlled by the Hawks, and they try and bring it to the Penguin line, and Chelios will blast it in. Barrasso has it with less than a minute to go now around the near wing, and Belfour stays in that net, but where's the puck? They called it back. No, it
jumped over the glass.
All right.
Well, when Mike Keenan did not pull Eddie Belfour in game 1, there was a question, and our trusty voice of the Penguins raised the question, and the only other guy who really brought it up, and all the newspaper writers, and we had a chance to see all the articles, was Bob Verdi, a longtime writer here in the Chicago area. And I asked Mike Keenan, why didn't you pull Eddie Belfour? He said somebody fell asleep at the switch. And then I said, who, you or him? And he didn't answer me for a second, and then he kind of turned around and said one of our players was supposed to tell him, and they didn't tell him, and he didn't come off. But now he does.
Belfour is off with 55 seconds left in the face-off in the Penguin zone. So Roenick, Larmer, Noonan, Brett Sutter, Chelios, and Smith, the 6 players out for the Hawks. Lemieux, Tocchet, Francis, Murphy, and Ulf Samuelson. And here we go. This face-off important. They picked something off the ice surface. Gerard Gauthier, the linesman. Chelios scooted in to say something to Sutter and to Roenick just before they dropped the puck. 1-0 Pittsburgh. And Sutter just turned his body, never put his stick down. He tried to turn his body on Francis.
I asked Sutter if he cheats at all in the draws. He says, why would you do that? Then you always get thrown out.
They do drop it. Kicked out by Francis. Who's going to get the puck? It's free in the circle and worked over to the left side of Chelios of Chicago. Chelios putting it around the net. Francis blocked that. And Brent Sutter battling him one-on-one. Now Murphy whacking away at Chelios as they go in. Fighting one another for that puck. Here's Roenick around to the far side. Over to Steve Larmer. Larmer to Steve Smith. Shooter towards it. And blocked by Taka. Lemieux's open. Taka gives it to him. No, he couldn't get it through. Steve Smith broke up that play. Lemieux is hanging back. And now we've got Chelios. And is it Larry Murphy? Chelios banging away at Murphy. And now Chelios has lost it. Chelios has just lost it. He and Murphy were in a heated battle around that net. They were banging away at one another. And then Chelios dropped the gloves and had him off. Well, they'll lose him for the rest of the game, I would think. Murphy's going to be gone here. Well, I'll tell you, Murphy was battling hard to get him away from that net as they were going down in the final seconds. We're down to 30.1 seconds left. And boy, oh boy, Tockett's pass intended for Lemieux. Is that, or is that Francis who's down that he was?
No, that was Murphy. Right. You're right.
Well, I saw that play coming around the net. Chelios is gone here for the rest of regulation.
Murphy was digging for the puck. Chelios stepped in. Murphy kept putting the lumber on him in the back. Then he put it up into his face, the glove. Chelios trying to, he speared him right in the stomach. And then Murphy took a cross check in the back from Roenick. And then Chelios punched him in the face with a stick. Came back after him, cross checked him across the back of the head, and he's going to get a penalty. After about 5 of them, Koharski puts the arm up. Well, there's no question that Murphy cross-checked him across the back, but I mean, one cross-check and you get 4 shots to the head and face after that. And a spear to the gut to add to it.
Barrasso joined the play, and I don't think Murphy's going to get a penalty on this play. But that's going to put Chelios in the box, so there goes the extra attacker now. Now there will be an equal strength.
And Chelios was commended by his coach, Mike Keenan, for being disciplined and showing restraint. He's trying to punch Murphy while he's down. This is just insanity here. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, now I want to see where the face-off is going to be.
You still have a chance to win the hockey game, too, and you get into that kind of stuff. Mike, what is amazing there to see that kind of behavior from Chelios, because he likes to dish it out all game long. He whacks guys, and Larry Murphy hits him with a cross-check, and he goes out of his mind. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Lemieux and Larmer were involved. Lemieux not even looking at him.
Face-off will be at center ice. And it'll be Lemieux, Francis, Tocchet, Wolf Samuelson, and Larry Murphy. And the Hawks will keep their goaltender pulled. But remember now, they don't have the extra attacker. They can only go with 5 men because Chelios is in the penalty box. He got a 5-minute penalty for cross-checking, I think it was. Is he in the penalty box or is he gone? He's gone. He left. I'm not sure what the penalty was. It might have been a 5-minute major and a game misconduct.
Well, the last shot that he gave him over the back of the head with a cross-check was unbelievable. And the spearing is probably what he got. 5 minutes for spearing and a game misconduct would be my guess.
You know, winning Game 3 like that, the Hawks a very desperate, a highly motivated team. I mean, that was their basically their last hurrah. That was their best game, I thought, a 60-minute game of the series. They didn't score a goal, but Tom Barrasso deserves the lion's share of the credit for that one. But still, it goes to show you in the playoffs, and we did that in the 91 playoffs. We did it again in 92. Is you just got to find a way to win, and it doesn't always go as the game plan you anticipate. Because the playoff hockey, the one thing I've learned over the years is that you can end up with an 8-6 contest, or you can find yourself in that 1-0 contest like we did in Game 3 in Chicago.
Well, now the fans have started throwing debris on the ice. And they just continue to do it. I don't know how you solve the problem because Every time they clean it up, they start throwing more. We've got a huge throng here tonight to watch this one. I mean, they are all still here to view it. The Hawks down by 1 as Mike Keenan, the Chicago coach, stares on. But he is not going to have an extra attacker. He's going to be at equal strength right now with that goaltender out of there, 5 aside. Actually, he's short-handed, but what makes it equal as far as the skaters are concerned, and here they come with the bottles being thrown on the ice now towards Lemieux. We just wait to see when we get the ice cleaned up here and get back to playing hockey. The face-off will be at center ice, so that belongs to the advantage to the Penguins. It's been quite a team effort by the Penguins tonight, and the outstanding goaltending of Barrasso to say the least. But the Penguins have played well also as a team.
To be faced with a power play opportunity with a few minutes to go in a hockey game where you only have a 1-0 lead, and to be able to kill that penalty is just another indication of how strong.
And here we go. It's pulled back, and the Penguins shoot it right towards the empty net, but they miss, and Noonan comes up with it, and this is an icing call against the Penguins. Remember, the Penguins have a power play on right now. And this will go in the books as a power play opportunity, so Lemieux missed the empty net. And remember that play because he shot it from behind center red and did not find the cage. And it allows the Hawks an opportunity here to get into the Penguins in and have the face-off back there. Instead of just shooting the puck off the boards and down, Mario tried to bury it to get the empty netter. And sometimes this type of situation can backfire on you. So be very alert to this situation.
Lemieux has such confidence in his ability to find that empty net that he fired it right away, but it was not a good decision.
This advantage now belongs to the Blackhawks with a face-off deep in the Penguins' end. I'm telling you, those are just a few seconds that expired off that clock, and here we go. Brent Sutter against Francis. A goaltender still out of the net for the Blackhawks, but they need a goal to tie it. Brent Sutter, and they don't drop the puck. Larmer, Noonan, Brent Sutter, Graham, and Roenick. Roenick has it right side. Moving down deep into the Penguins' end. Shoot it right through the goal mouth, and it went wide. Noonan gets the puck. Back over to the near wing. It went right by Roenick and behind the goal. Lemieux digging for it. 15 to go in the game. In the third period. Around the boards it goes, and down to Chicago territory. Tocchet's after it. Coming up with it with 8 seconds to go. He pulls in, looking for the empty net. He comes around, a man shoots it, blocked by Noonan. The rebound, he missed the net. 3 seconds left. Lemieux shoots it. It's blocked. 1 second. It's all over. The Penguins have won Game 3 here in Chicago. The Penguins have taken a 3-0 lead in this best-of-7 series for the Stanley Cup as they hold on and defeat the Chicago Blackhawks 1-0. They couldn't get the empty netter, but they only needed one tonight, and that came in the first period. Behind the brilliant goaltending of Tom Barrasso, the Penguins are 60 minutes away from winning their second consecutive Stanley Cup, and that would be in regulation. So the Penguins have done it all so far in this final series as they have taken care of the Hawks here in Chicago tonight. Final score, the Penguins 1, the Hawks 0, and we'll return on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Up 3-0, the Penguins were sitting pretty in the Windy City, and they certainly knew what it would take to win a championship on the road. Remember, they had done just that 12 months earlier in Minnesota. So join us Friday at 7 p.m. as we once again relive how the Penguins would go back-to-back as Stanley Cup champs.